Hello, welcome. Hello. Hi. It is it has been a rough day. But yes, welcome in. Hi Miss, hi Lee, hi Finn. When they call me Higurashi, because I make bitches cry awesome. Finn now! We can say hello.
Hello. How is everyone? I guess they don't call you skinny penis for nothing.
Wow. I see how it is.
Hey, I didn't say anything. I simply elaborated on the point.
There. What
What
you
are you doing?
doing?
I know, but I have commitments. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Nah, it's patching. My preparations didn't even go to plan. So it's fucked. It's ruined.
Island Sanctuary time. Oh.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna. I'm gonna log in after this. I'm updating as we speak, so don't worry.
Oh my god. I wanna play too though. But
You can't watch me play.
I can't access Island Sanctuary unfortunately.
Yes, you need to go through all the expansions. I think. I'm not sure. I actually don't know the requirements.
Is it like the end game housing of Maple? I would
No,
assume it is.
and no. The end game of housing of FF is very much savage. So yeah.
Like, she returned
Look
to
at
live.
that, Norris. Take my leave, return to Limsa. Yes, I must pose as Catboy and girl or bunny or you know what, topless rose. You know, that's exactly what.
Is it
I
real?
think only a few of us actually understand what we're talking about here. So it's
I'm crying.
actually Island Sanctuary is available from after. Oh, okay.
What's the
Sure.
ARR?
Army Reborn, the first part, the one before the
Oh.
critically acclaimed expansion Heaven's Sword. So
Oh.
there's a chance.
No.
Oh.
I'll play until level 60, finish my story, and then I'm gonna go farming, go cooking
You
for
don't even have to get
no.
to level 60.
How dare.
No. Yeah, it's base game. It's base game. It's the very base game.
Exactly. Base game. I had to get.
Basically, sure wants to play Animal Crossing.
I just want to play Amok. I just want to make stuff. Yep. For no
Yes.
apparent reason, just for my own satisfaction. Will I sell them? No. Can I sell them? Oh, and no. The answer is no. Day 9000 waiting for sure to come with F. Hey, I can be the FF! When was the last time we played FF?
Before so I said this, it's almost 4 months ago now.
4 months ago, bro. Oh god. Pet all the minions on the island. Okay.
Oh yeah, the one of the benefits, you can have all your minions on the island all together. So.
Oh my god. It's a dream. But
But yeah,
oh my god. That sounded really scary.
creepy. I wasn't even ready for that one.
Onikakushi. Okay, now it is time for ASMR reading, but I don't have an ASMR mic, so you guys have to put up with this. Day 1000, 10,000 or waiting.
Welcome to the world of Higurashi.
You have the ASMR mic, right?
Huh? Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. Excuse me. Yeah, but it's not gonna pick up on Discord.
Right.
It's like I have the Blue Yeti, which has a stereo mode. So technically, I can.
It's fine.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how to get that to work. So.
His badge. I'm million already, so.
Yo.
We love you.
Gosh, it's a horror game. Okay. We should preface this by saying,
It's very
Higurashi is quite a gory horror game.
It is very dark.
It's quite a dark horror game. It's just a series in general because the anime it is pretty effed up. Let's put it that way. So if you're like very sensitive to you know,
Warning.
yeah, if you're very sensitive to that kind of stuff, maybe this isn't quite the stream for you.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're all gonna be here all together. If you're just scared, it's fine. You know, we're all here together. All here to be scared together.
Yeah, you
I'm pretty
might get
hyped.
triggered. You might.
Like,
So be careful.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty. I'm pretty hyped for this. So
I'm
you know,
not.
This is like,
I hate this.
yeah.
Dude, we start. Okay, I had an electric outage, right? And I don't know when's the next time it's gonna go dark. Lest it lest the power. What do you call it? In before, we're reading like at a really suspenseful moment, and then suddenly when electricity goes down, I'll actually be like, wow, okay.
That was kind of like an unfortunate timing there, honestly.
See, someone's in the building's gym using the dumbbells for some sus exercise. Wait, what?
I don't know, but you know, I figured it's exercises, you know. Please don't leave. I'm sorry.
Why can't everybody's so leaving? But it's great. I think I get nightmares. I think I.
I hope you all not get traumatized. No, it's okay. I mean,
I'll get traumatized, but
I'm loving it.
I'm here. I'm here just to, you know, make Tsuka happy. So that's why I'm putting myself through pain right now.
This is your channel. This is your channel.
You wanted something scary, and I was like, okay. I don't know what's scary.
I see. Putting your decisions on me. I see how it is.
I'll put my mic further away, just in case. Just in case I start screaming.
I think you just need to set your compressor.
The thing is, I don't know how. Filters.
Filters, compressor.
Compressor.
Turn your threshold down.
Down?
Yeah, it's like
wait.
Threshold just means that like it's the point in time where it starts to compress your voice. So.
It's not loud anymore.
Yeah, that's the point.
Okay, it's kind of loud. Let me turn that down.
Yeah, just make sure like the loudest scream would be in like only the yellow, you know.
It is yellow. Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Well, my screen won't be compressed on Discord, so he'll hear the full blast of it, but you guys won't have to listen to ear rape.
Sacrifices I make for you guys.
Just already witnessing horrific things every day. What the fuck?
Cool.
It's true, but damn, man, you don't gotta.
No. That's okay. Day before incident, day since incidents is still going strong. So it's all good.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Okay, let's go.
I'm hating this. Okay. You wanna read this one?
Okay. How do you wanna it to be read?
Supposed to do ASMR scream.
Welcome to the world of Higurashi When They Cry. The Onikakushi arc will be the opening, inviting you into this world. Don't play tough. Please just enjoy life, Inamizawa, to the fullest. The difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you'll enjoy the reward. Start. Exit. Higurashi When They Cry. Thank you for stopping me.
What the actual fuck? Please wait. Let me adjust my chair. Okay.
Let me turn off my lights actually.
It's already like 10 p.m. here, and by the time we finish this, it's gonna be 1 to 2 a.m. and I'm not looking forward
And it's
to
a
it.
horror game without you being scared to look at outside the window.
It's like a fiction. 80, 90, the early summer 58th year.
What the
Jesus
fuck are these
Christ.
sound effects?
It sounds like a dog barking, and then if I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. What the fuck is that? Even in this very moment, I trust her. And I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly sobbing voice, and those tears making a mess of my face. That mechanical repetitious sound finally stilled, and everything fell silent.
The game is...
Also, it's very fast. Only the cry of the cicadas remained annoyingly loud, and yet I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She's no longer speaking. I killed her!
'Cause she did.
The only one crying is me. She never cried.
She cried blood.
Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion, because there were none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. 'Cause she's a bitch. Then why this pain? My eyes getting moist. Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough, and countless times I wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except, I've stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I feel better if I just threw it away, even knowing that I choose to believe, then I. Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me? I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright just to take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind, like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. The fuck is that? That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I like petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last. Okay for you. Yo, the text speed is so fast. I'm not clicking anything, by the way. Perhaps I really did love you. Hi, Zach. 18 plus tag. Somebody has been apologizing for. Okay. Config. Give me that message, big. Give me back, man. Also, I need to turn on the sound.
Turn on the message speed, turn down the volume a little bit, and 18 plus. Do we want to do that?
Yeah. I'll set the 18 plus tag. Is there 18 plus? 18 plus. At tag. Oh wait. It doesn't let me.
Oh no, you'd have to stop the stream, is it?
Huh?
It doesn't let you what?
How do I think plus sign is... Oh. Plus sign is not available as a tag. Should I put it in the title?
Is there not a set for mature audience option?
I
Or
already set my stream for mature audience, but
oh,
then
okay.
this is
In that case, it should be fine then. If you already set it for mature audiences, that's right.
but still, this one is a bit more. So I played my Gecko Castle without the tag.
Yeah, but it's 18 plus. If it, I'm assuming if you set it for mature, it should be fine. I don't know. At least in my head.
I'll just add like a mature tag. I guess that's all I can do.
It's fine.
Okay, class. Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's. Do you want to read this?
I think yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I'd last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads, the melodious cacophony of its crosswalk, even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks, and the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There's nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean where there aren't any burger joints. There aren't even any vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades.
My killing's entertaining.
The horror. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town has some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been into an ice cream parlor. Really. I should have gone at least once. It's only now I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody's still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much, so just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake.
You sure about that?
You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing, even now. Then, has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done. But if it can't be fixed, then it's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey, you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice.
Oh.
Okay.
This is me. Also, hi, Sam. My day was okay. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up.
I was finally aroused from my nap by my father's prodding.
What? I'm a father.
Yeah.
Hey. Kaichu.
It seemed the train had finally reached its final stop. We'd spent hours riding everything from the bullet train to the local routes. It was hard to believe the landscape beyond the window in the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. No, that they were even from the same era.
From there, we take a car deeper into the mountains. Beep beep. Past where the dense forest encroaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up.
Da-da-da.
There, where I live now, Hinamizawa. Higurashi when they cry. So I guess I'm Kate, you know.
K-E-T.
Kate. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although, in exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side, so I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste.
Yummy.
Yum yum.
Small blood in the air.
I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen.
You went to go on milk.
Oh no. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter.
Ooh.
It's such a laid-back profession.
I don't know.
Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I never tell him that though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. My mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today.
I'm so happy you've been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi.
If I don't wake up early, how would I have any time to eat breakfast? I thought I was being cute, responding if I were wisecracked after being praised for being good.
Full bowl of rice, or will half be enough?
Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with egg. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. Excellent, as usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile.
I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi.
I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast that Mom made me each morning. That was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Slap! Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin.
Isn't it about time to meet up with Rena-chan? Hurry.
Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl.
Ooh.
Rena's one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people, coming to meet me every day without fail.
I think she has a crush on you.
That's what she loves, right?
Hmm?
The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just lame.
Why?
But, well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Rena wait there for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door.
Please thank Rena-chan for the pickles. Oh, for the pickles, right? I was like,
Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more.
Oh,
Morning.
is
Is that
that?
me? No, is it you?
I can't tell. I can't tell.
I think it's you.
Hiya.
Then you go down.
Oh shit. Okay. Wait, give it. Let me drink water. If I have the voice actor and she goes crazy later,
I think I'm the one who goes crazy, right?
I don't know. I don't know the plot.
You know, the beginning. I don't know.
Keiichi-kun! Ohayo!
Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime.
If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting.
She's so consentious and such a good person. Consentious.
Conscientious.
If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind.
Wait, is she saying that or you saying that? Oh, okay. My brain was like, huh? Okay. Oh, Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I wait for you all the time.
I'll leave you in the dust
What a hoe.
without looking back.
What a bitch. Why are you so mean? Hi.
Rena had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding. I'd wait for you. With those words, Rena seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red.
Thank you.
I'd wait forever until you came, Rena.
Ooh.
No matter how long.
Smooth operator. Forever.
Rena turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease.
I relate.
Have you ever read a romance novel, Rena?
I haven't. Never read any before.
From that response, I gathered she was interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh yeah, message from Mom. She says thanks for the pickles.
It was nothing. You're welcome. How are they? Not too salty?
They weren't salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine to just be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Rena? Or was it your mom?
Huh? What do you ask? Were they too salty?
Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Rena? Or was it your mom?
Also, hi, John. Hi.
Hey. Hey, yes, it is this. It is the...
Heinrich.
I only know this by reputation, so I'm excited.
I don't know anything about this, the story or the game or anything, so... Why are you asking who made them? Why?
Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically.
Huh?
She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she'd used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me.
Looks at you.
Huh.
Stare.
Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response.
It was me.
Delicious.
Huh?
Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It truly was a lot of fun to tease her. I prayed that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Rena. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. The average person. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If you keep me on waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just kept spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Lena Ryugu. I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange.
Oh no. It's music. I'm guessing this is me.
Yep.
Mi-chan, ohayo.
Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved.
Oh. What should I...
So, Rena's the cute one. She's the kind of the more energetic one.
Huh?
Rena's the cute one, right? And then
Yeah. Rena's supposed to be a cute one.
Mion, I guess is her name, is kind of
Cool. Cool?
cool / more and slightly energetic, I guess.
Cool, energetic. Oh.
Composed, I guess if you want to put it that way. A fine to her kind of thing.
Oh. Finally.
Yeah. I think your normal voice would work.
I know how voice works. Finally, it's too late. Is that you or?
I think it's me. Usually you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Rena, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class.
Morning, Rena. And it's been a while, Kei-chan. How many
How?
years?
I was only have 2 days.
You don't say. You were so much cuter back then.
Mion's gaze stared at my chest and then dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs.
Wait, what?
So she's saying it was my crotch that was cuter back then.
Oh.
Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown up quite splendidly. You'd be surprised.
Wow. Not only is he bigger, but he has a... Wait, is that me saying or is that you
Yes.
saying?
It's Mion.
Wait.
Wait. I would assume? I don't know.
So not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. Being so... Wait, is that really me or...
Is that me? Is that supposed to be me?
That's supposed to be you, bro. You have this. You're the one explaining how big is your dick, bro.
Fine. Keiichi, you're a fucking scum of the earth. Anyway, not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. Being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly.
Don't. I guess that's me.
That's you, yeah.
Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh air? Get a breath of fresh morning air. Oh my god.
I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Young sure does act like an older man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my fly, Rena began to ramble in a near panic.
Hey, hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Red faced and flustered, Rena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about.
She's not as innocent as she looks. Who is this? Oh, I guess it's.
It's Mion.
So how is it?
Seeing the city again?
Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the topic to something more befitting Pleasant Morning. I only went for a funeral. I didn't have much time.
Oh yeah, did you look for it?
That thing I asked for?
You're not listening at all, are you? I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in toy stores.
Oh. In one of those stores, or?
No, toy stores.
Hey, not far-fetched, but
Yeah, I guess.
toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here after all.
Is this about games again, Michan?
Nodded proudly as Rena giggled.
Yep, I wanted Kate-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see.
Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you?
Well, guess I have to now. I'm gonna get another game full of hot action.
Oh, this.
Is that...
Rena.
It's Rena, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This time, I like a game that's easy to understand.
Mion is a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. If there's a game you think I understand, let me play too.
Of course. If Kate-chan's up for it, I should warn you though, we're pretty tough.
Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose.
Oh.
Then, well, when you're in the group this time, I guess. I guess.
Bristling with joy from head to toe, Rena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further.
Mm-hmm. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to.
It's Rena. Rena laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I'd moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in, so they won't feel like they have to try to make me feel welcome. I feel like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it should probably be about right for this place. Hinamizawa was a really small village. Not only was there only one school, but there was only one class. That class encompasses all different grades and ages.
Ooh.
There are about 30 students at different levels, and they all study in the same class. I'm told that, long ago, there used to be a bigger school building, and they had actual separate classes. However, it seems something happened that made it become a single class, and now it stayed that way, out of tradition.
Class for sacrifice.
I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I've already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt more like a kindergarten than a proper school. Not that that was a bad thing. Mion, who had been walking in front of us up until then, suddenly let me take the lead. Right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Heh. Too bad. I wasn't gonna fall for that again. To think you'd give up the lead here. You meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mia chuckled with a haughty smirk on her face.
What is it, you guys?
Step back, Rena. It's dangerous. She's here.
Then, Atako-chan is...
Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it would be immature to get worked up over just that. The real problem was this. Quite the obvious trap. A blackboard eraser wedged into the door. It's too obvious. Satoko! A haughty laugh came from beyond the door.
Oh boy.
I gotta think.
Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess that means you win this round.
No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt this is it. After falling for such intricate traps since the After falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred, I no longer let my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps. Traps that were simply there to bait you into the main ones. Traps that relentlessly kept coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine. The list goes on. Well, that's a Rube Goldberg there.
Nope.
As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal. No rocks or anything in it. I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day. Jesus.
A little bit. Wait,
Satoko.
is this Rena?
Satoko.
Wait,
It's up to you. I don't know. I think it's Satoko. But
you think it's Satoko? But they
so,
haven't
so,
introduced
it's like, so it's like, so then why did you? So because she's still behind the door, right? So it goes like, so then why did you just open the door and let it drop? You know, kind of like a, you know.
Ah, I thought they were talking to her as if she wasn't there. So
No, she's behind the door.
Oh, okay. Since she's a trap enthusiast, should I give her the grim?
Yeah. Well, for the most part, I guess.
Hmm.
You don't need to be too gremlin.
I can't. There's only 0 to 100. Okay.
All right, 0 to a gremlin.
There's no in between. So
then why don't you just open the door and let it drop?
That's what it is. That's what Satoko was after. Making me focus my attention upward. So as I lifted my hand to the door, there were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door handle with tape. A frightening trap.
fuck.
A potent and terrifying trap. Concealed by using the blackboard eraser. An impressive combination, Satoko. But in the end, nothing more than trivial machinations of a child. Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. I felt something strange in my ankle. It was similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized she had made me the hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in an almost picturesque manner.
This is Rena.
watch out!
Oh, I know.
Instinctively reacting to Mion's shrill warning, I twisted my body in midair before I landed on the floor. Ow! An egg stone, filled to the brim, was placed right where I would have landed. I shuddered, imagining the situation had I landed square on it.
Oh, of course she's a fucking...
Yeah, grandma works.
My, what do we have here? Fair morning to you. Oh, what's up?
No, sorry, yeah.
Oh.
Fair morning to you and Keiichi-san. Oh, and we unlikely one this morning. Ugh.
Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. That was a step up from your usual trap, Satoko!
I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning.
You little... Ow, 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 ow. It seemed that inadvertently sprained my back a little where I landed. Better than landing on that inkstone.
Oh my god.
A small hand gently rubbed my head.
Okay. Soft white.
The small, dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head.
Didn't sprain back already, did you? If you rub it like this, the pain disappears.
I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but I didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts. Yeah, thanks, Rika-chan. The pain's going away now.
Oh my god. I can't remember all this.
Why? Rika-chan, ohayo! Good morning to you, Rena. Good morning to all.
Rika-chan greeted each of us with an adorable little bow.
No.
It was infectious. Rena, Mian, and I all bowed back. You're such a good kid, Rika-chan. So much better than Satoko. I glared over her direction. Satoko was whistling rather deliberately, trying to avoid eye contact.
I can't whistle back.
Just fake whistle.
What do you mean? I am the very model of a good girl.
A good girl wouldn't set those nasty traps.
Nothing but lies and slander. Exactly what proof.
I picked up Satoko by the back of her collar. She looks like a misbehaved cat when I do this. But a cat wouldn't be setting traps. She's much harder to deal with. I'm sorry. Try saying that. If you won't say it... I cocked my index finger on my thumb, letting it tremble as I brought it closer to Satoko's forehead.
I'm against violence. You don't even have any proof.
Just so you know, my forehead flick really hurts. It can split plywood right in half.
What the fuck?
Get away from me, you beast.
Don't say that in a way people will understand. Misunderstand, I should say. A small hand tugged in the back of my shirt.
Oh, is it?
Rena. No, Rena.
It's a
yeah.
Rika.
She's been lonely since you were gone for 2 days.
Rika-chan really is just so... How could I do anything more after being told that? I gently released my grip on Satoko, who at this point was on the verge of tears. She still had her eyes clamped shut as she braced herself for the forehead flick.
I keep forgetting the voice I give her.
Gremlin.
No, like I don't know how to do it. I don't remember how to do it. I just kind of wing it every single
It's fine.
time.
It's fine. Your things to have different voices. I guess I'm the narrator. I guess at this point.
It doesn't matter me. Mustn't cry, Satoko. Keep on fighting. Yeah.
Ika gently petted the head of her prankster friend. You would never guess these two are the same age. I think Satoko could learn anything a million from Nikata.
Next time, so that even more amazing.
Wait a minute.
So cute.
So cute.
Oh,
She
no.
observed the scene. Then his expression grew ecstatic as she began to swoon.
Oh, Satoko-chan is crying. So cute. Oh, you. You can't take them home. Oh, but they're so cute. You can't, no matter how cute they are. But just for a bit, it's fine. It's fine, right?
Rena kept a cutesy face even as outrageous ideas spewed from her mouth. According to Mion, Rena is ridiculously weak to cute things and always tries to take them home.
Why the fuck are they traps? Oh, she's girled it.
Object or person.
Stealing's bad, but adopting people's even worse. Give it up. And I can just look. That should be fine, right? Right?
Rena swooned over Satoko's crying form.
Foreshadowing.
If a girl ever goes missing in Hinamizawa, I'll be forced to turn Rena into the authorities.
Oh my god, Monkas. Foreshadowing.
Forgive me, Rena. I'll be sure to bring you care packages when they put you away.
Well, the teacher's coming. Quickly, clean everything up. Satoko, the inkstone's yours, right?
Just from Mion's single statement, the entire mood of the room shifted back to normal. The inkstone was bad, but a thumbtack stuck to the door handle was an even bigger problem. I pulled the tape off carefully, making sure not to skewer myself. Even though Satoko was the one who set it up, everyone had to pick up after her. By the time the teacher entered the room, the bedlam from before had been neatly tidied up.
You made it in time. Alright. Rise. Attention.
Mion gave out the morning commands. Kiritsu, rei,
Hey.
ohayo gozaimasu. It's difficult being a teacher for all of these different grades in one classroom. She has to teach something different to each one.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
Yeah. But naturally, she ends up spending all her time with the younger kids. Rena and Mion, being in the highest grade in the class, end up mostly doing self-study. They even end up helping teach the younger kids, so it seems like they can never get to their own studies. They're actually way behind where my studies have progressed to. As a result, I'm pretty much taking over for the teacher and helping Rena and Mion with their studies.
Yeah. You're a pretty good teacher, Keiichi-kun. Easy to understand.
Rena took a breather after finishing highlighting an important section. Teaching is making me lose confidence. It makes me aware of how shallow my understanding of the subject is.
They say that to teach someone something, you need to understand it backwards and forwards. So while you're teaching us, you're getting your own practice.
In contrast, this person over here is quite less fair about things. For one, isn't she supposed to be in a higher grade than me?
That's true.
Look, Mion, this is for your own good. If you don't take this seriously, there'll be trouble later on. With these marks?
It's not like I'm aiming going to a prestigious school. I'll be fine as long as I pick up what I need to know for the entrance exams a little at a time.
Her staunch defiance was really something else. This is a different type of relax from somebody who already knew what was going to be on the entrance exams.
Dad, Keiichi-kun is doing his best to teach us. You need to try hard too. You're such a good and not. Wait, no, that's you.
You're such a good and honest kid, Rena. I'll make sure you guys get accepted into a good school.
Thanks so much.
Especially you, Rena. Private lessons, just the two of us.
What the fuck?
Lessons?
A puff of smoke shaped like a halo popped out of Rena's head. Exactly what kind of private lesson is she fantasizing about that makes her turn so red? I'd like to hear the play-by-play about that next time. While Mion is flipping through her vocabulary flashcards, she threw out a casual question.
So, in the city, do you have to study this much?
If you don't know at least this much, you can't get into university.
So, you study just to get into a university?
Well, yeah, basically. While knowing that this stuff won't ever come in handy in the future.
Here you can get into a university as long as your attendance is good enough. What?
Really?
Much.
Study equals entrance exams. Having that basic law of the universe so easily overturned set me into a state of shock.
That's right. There aren't really enough people around here to warrant reading them out with an exam. That's
makes sense.
true. If anyone can get into university, then there's no need to be all uptight about this stuff, right?
Well, that's true, but you should at least know stuff that's common knowledge.
Wait, who is this? You're doing more meaningful. Oh wait.
I think that's Mion.
Yeah. Okay. This old geezer thinks that instead of wasting time studying pointlessly, you should be spending your precious teen years doing more meaningful things.
It was too profound of a statement to simply laugh off. But since it was Mion, it probably didn't actually have that deep of a meaning.
Oh, I should have said it in the old man voice.
In place of a chime, the sound of the principal waving a handbell drifted through the classroom.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Okay.
Kei-chan, we're done! It's a wonderful lunchtime.
In a complete 180 from her unmotivated state, Mion gave the commands to signal at the end of the morning period.
Keiichi-kun, let's have lunch.
I might have been making a very troubled face. Rena smiled brightly at me. Alright, let's eat.
Your character. It's so goofy.
It's all over the place, I swear to God.
I don't know what is your character. I'm just like, okay.
There seemed to be different cliques, even within the class. Most of them were divided up by gender and age, but our group was different. Our ages were different, and we had both boys and girls. But we weren't reserved around each other. This level of openness makes a transfer student like me pretty happy. Rena and Mion pushed their desks together so they were facing each other. At the same time, Satoko and Nika-chan were slowly looking their desks over as well.
Keiichi-kun, hurry!
Rena waved her chopsticks in an unrefined manner, trying to hurry me along. Unless everyone was together, they wouldn't even open their lunchboxes.
Aww. Graham,
Keiichi-san's lunchbox is mostly assuredly filled with nothing but bread crusts like some sort of destitute plebeian. Why don't you just show it off to us? Come now.
Even though Satoko was hurling insults at me, she still wouldn't open the lid to her lunchbox until I was there.
Yo.
I pulled out my lunchbox swiftly and dragged my chair over to join the circle. Hey, sorry to keep you waiting.
Now then, Representative Me, please give the signal to start.
At first, this was kind of embarrassing, but I got used to it pretty fast. At this point, I probably wouldn't even open my own lunchbox if someone else was too slow. Our ages and genders may have all been different, but we were all friends.
Itadakimasu.
The sound of our little 5-part chorus echoed beautifully throughout the classroom. Really though, I've gotten pretty used to this group made up of all girls. Of course there are other boys in the class, but they were a lot younger, so they were scared to approach me. Well, that's to be expected. Younger boys just see older boys as scary. Compare that to girls, well, at least these girls aren't picky. We put all the side dishes in the middle where everyone was free to pick at them. I thought girls would mind sharing a meal with a guy, so I was a bit flustered joining in. However, Mia noticed that and teased me quite a bit. As the fruit of my efforts, I can now reach over and take sides from anybody's lunch.
My, isn't Sir Keiichi's lunch extravagant today?
My, isn't Madame Satoko's lunch extravagant as well? The stewed stuff has a nice look to it, rather trendy. Buying into the fight that Satoko was starting, our chopsticks locked in a cross-down, stabbing into each other's lunch.
How delicious.
Oh, this taro is good. The stewed stuff is good too, even cold. After seeing my happy face, Nika-chan's expression broke into a little smile.
No. I saved some dinner for last night.
By the way, Satoko and Nika-chan's lunches are always the same. It seems that Nika-chan makes it for both of them every day.
Oh.
Nika-chan made this too. These taste like mom's home cooking. I was honestly impressed. The carrot rosettes weren't from a mold. They were done by hand with a knife.
Bruh.
That's not easy to do. Knife.
I guess Pikachu's just good at this sort of thing.
He's really good at sewing, laundry, and stuff like that. Amazing, right? Amazing! Rika's quite exceptional in many ways.
That's nothing for you to boast about.
Rena's actually better at cooking than I am. Huh? Well, you know.
Seeing that the topic of conversation switched to Rena when she wasn't expecting it, making her blush and trip over her words. Rena's lunch really was a star at the table. Not only did it look good, it tasted good. Everyone else pulled from Rena's lunchbox constantly.
This is pulling for gacha.
Yep.
Everyone liked this one so much before, so I made a lot this time. It's good. I hope.
It's got high marks from me. Mion, you're taking too much. Knocking Mion's chopstick aside, I reached out and tried to secure my own portion. Satoko and Nika-chan reached over at the same time, and a struggle ensued.
Precious more!
Everyone shoveled in mouthful after mouthful while praising it, and Rena's lunchbox was soon empty. It was kinda bad that no one thought to leave any for Rena. But Rena seemed rather satisfied as she looked on.
How do you like it? Isn't Rena-san an extremely good cook too? Quite different from Keiichi-san. Boop.
I said that's nothing for you to boast about.
You're not much different from Kei-chan, Satoko. Can you tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower yet?
Satoko's face went pale.
Hey, even I can tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower, you know? Of course I can. I really can.
It's really hard for her to lie.
Cage-kun, both taste good when they're boiled and topped with mayo, right? You shouldn't be picking on her. Mi-chan too.
Hurriedly tried to follow up. Mion laughed haughtily as she drew closer to Satoko.
Well, just pretend it's a little home ec lesson. Now then, Satoko, what's this?
Mion lifted up her chopsticks. Between them was a piece of green stuff wrapped in bacon.
Oh.
But that's asparagus.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Mion made eye contact with me, and within 3 seconds, I had Ika-chan's mouth covered.
Yo, imagine bacon wrapped broccoli instead of asparagus. I would try that.
Holding a piece of bacon wrapped asparagus and giving her 2 choices. She's pretty terrible.
Fucked up.
Well, the yellow one's cauliflower. No, wait, the green one's cauliflower.
So which?
Probably the yellow one is broccoli, and the blue one's cauliflower, but the green one is the
You really know which is which? How about you just give up?
I'd expect no less from the class representative. The oldest.
The bully.
The way she drives people into a corner just shows how much experience she has. This is just a hunch, but being brought into the Sonozaki household must be quite the ordeal.
I do know. I really do.
Then answer the question.
I know. I know.
She finally broke down and started crying. When she acts like this, she actually starts to seem her age.
Cute.
Rena entered a state of euphoria as Satoko bawled her eyes out. Rena was in a state of bliss as she rubbed her cheek against Satoko's head and smothered her. Really, a very content face. One that wouldn't care if the world ended right then. It was that kind of smile.
Miri is picking on me. You cute. It's okay. You know that Jen will take care of all those bad people. He's my little sister.
Rich boom bam! It was like a flash of lightning.
What?
What was that just now? Both of Rena's fists shot out at supersonic speeds, striking Mion and me squarely in our faces. Oh, Jesus fuck. Before we knew it, Mion and I were sprawled spread eagle on the floor, staring up at the ceiling while with matching welts on our faces.
It's the first time we've gotten one, right? Today, she went easy on us.
Easy? You mean there's something harder than this? With that, Mion and I both stumped our heads back to the floor in unison. From now on, I'll be careful. I'll be careful when I'm within striking distance of Rena.
See, Satoko-chan, I took care of him. Cute. I want to take you home.
Making sure Rena couldn't see it, Satoko stuck her tongue out at us.
Damn it.
Damn it all! Using Rena like a puppet! Ika-chan massaged our bruises without saying a word. He's like, yeah, but you kind of deserved it though. He's like, shit.
You little shit! Oh.
No matter what the day held, the last school bell always came too soon. Our shadows stretched off to the distance.
Hey, Cage-kun. Tomorrow, do you have plans or anything? Or anything?
Huh? It was With such a direct question from Rena, I inadvertently blushed. If it was for a date, then wouldn't you do it more subtly? Rena saw me lost for words and realized that I'd misunderstood, and turned red as well.
No, I didn't mean it like that. You see...
So apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it's always fun when Rena's in a panic, I went along with it a little. Oh, really? So it wasn't meant that way. Playing it up, I slumped my shoulders, feigning a dejection.
Keiichiro, why are you so disappointed? Why? Mii-chan!
Mii-chan, no. Unable to hold it in any longer, Mian slapped me on the back.
I see. This old geezer never knew you could push her buttons like that. Wahaha!
What is it?
Mian was rolling on the floor, clutching her stomach, while Rena flailed around, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well. Feeling just a bit guilty, I ruffled Rena's hair. Kidding. Sorry, it was a joke. That was my fault. She really is a cute one.
Huh? A joke? Since when?
Huh? About halfway through.
Halfway? It's okay, Chan. That means you weren't acting when you blushed at the start.
Huh? Oh no, I see.
That means...
It was only a momentary lapse, but there was no way Mian would let such a delectable detail slip by her. Well, you see... Saying anything more was also a bad idea.
Oh my god!
In my bewildered state, I slipped further into an unfavorable position. After that, Mian continued to tease me about it for a while. Oh my god, just get a room, guys.
Oh my god. Get a room.
So, why were you asking me if I'm free tomorrow, Nena?
Huh? Oh, what were we talking about?
It had been so long that Rena had forgotten. That's how long Mian had teased me.
Wow. It's just Kei-chan. You probably can't find your way around Hinamizawa by yourself, can you?
That was true. I hate to say it, but if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times like we're playing pin the tail on the donkey, I wouldn't be able to tell up from down here. What kind of writing? Yeah, I don't think I know how to get anywhere besides back and forth from school.
Yeah, so you see, tomorrow we were thinking that Mii-chan and I could escort you through Hinamizawa and show you around.
That would be a godsend, Frank. That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy about the offer.
You'll come, of course, right?
Free.
You're being invited by a girl, you know.
If I'm free.
You're probably free anyways.
If I'm free. If I'm free. I was being stubborn so as not to give her a clear yes or no. Even though I thought it was a godsend, I'm too much of a scamp to say so up front.
Keiichi-kun, you're not free. Perhaps?
While Mian and I had a rather sour back and forth, Rena peeked over at me hesitantly. Figuring I'd be a bit too rough on her, I just gave in. Sorry, forgive me, I apologize. I'm free.
No.
Great.
The trepidation disappeared from Rena's face as it blossomed into a smile.
Hey now,
You're... Okay. Sorry. seems like there's quite a difference between how cold you are to me compared to Rena, isn't there?
And since Neon didn't care for how rude I was to her, compared to how quickly I agreed with Rena. But her being annoyed was very interesting. So I pushed Rena forward, speeding up our pace to leave Neon behind. Let's go, Rena. Maybe it should just be the two of us tomorrow. Leave grumpy old Neon behind.
Well, if Cage-kun is okay with that, then...
Oh my god, Rena's just like, yo, fine.
I'm the one who came up with the idea to take you around, okay? Don't ignore me, Keiichi Maibara.
It'd be great if the two of us could go on a picnic together. Should we bring a basket, Rena?
If we're bringing a basket, I'll make all the food, maybe. Maybe.
Don't you ignore me too, Rena. I'll tell everyone that you two disappeared into a hotel district together.
Oh, shit.
Sunday. Well, I'm going home right now to start making it. Tomorrow's gonna be so fun. Later, Cage-kun. Michan, bye-bye.
Rena bounded off like she was walking on the moon.
Oh, hey Sage, what's up? Oh. Oh. I see. Oh. There.
Yo.
You get a free meal from him as well.
After the dust settled, all that was left was me, standing next to Neon, sprawled out on the floor on the ground. There was a bump on her face. Are you alright? There was over 2 meters between you guys.
Since you came, they've become sharper. So Geezer's body can't handle it.
Maybe it'd be easier if you stop saying stuff that makes Rena want to hit you. Or else this will end up being Neon's slapstick comedy hour. If that happened, the results might be fatal. Oh. Don't feel bad, Neon. You're probably the only one who can dodge her jabs.
It felt like it was her knee, though.
Could it be they were hanging around with an unrivaled martial arts master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in an extreme contact sport. You can't lose to Rena. You need to train up and have a rematch.
Kei-chan, you should. This whole geezer. I mean, you should. Oh. This whole geezer will root for you.
I reaffirmed our determination to discover a way to counter Rena's infallible technique.
What the fuck? Oh.
It is a horror? Yes, it is a horror.
It is a horror game.
But it's gonna take a while.
It's a slow burn, but once it burns, you're gonna wish you got a fire extinguisher.
Here's your new tips for a mixed grade. We don't have a uniform?
We're a mixed grade uniform. What
You
tips?
all tips?
What
We
is
don't have a
this?
uniform. We're a mixed grade. Yeah, the music is like ooh.
What is this supposed to be? Is it like little shorts? Oh, so oops. Also, can I BRB real quick? You should go. You should drink water. By the way.
There's water. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, we'll both be right back. Alright, guys. Hello, we're back. I got
Very big.
jelly. Got jelly.
Jelly.
Oh. Jelly.
What kind of jelly is it?
The one I bought from Don Don Donkey. Peach
Oh,
one.
no.
Cold now and it's nice.
That's how you know it's good jelly.
Head back on stage. You want meows? There's your meows.
Else. Alright, let's just let us know when you're ready to go.
Okay. Oh, my turn, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's right. We're the same zodiac animal too.
Hey, now, if we were the same age, we're not the same zodiac animal. Yeah, would be actually.
Oh shit. That's not true. Your birthday isn't the same day. You can have different animals even if you're the same age.
Huh? I think you're thinking.
Oh.
Oh, I see. Me. Oh wait, no. See, that's Oh no, wait, it's me. Oh no. Yeah, you're pretty smart.
What month were you born, by the way, Kate-kun? I'm July.
Oh shit, I'm July too.
Oh shit.
Rena smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey, now what's the meaning of this? She's not planning to be all high and mighty if her birthday's a wee bit sooner than mine, is she?
Heh, don't even. Oh wait, that's you. Never mind.
Yeah. Don't even. It's impossible to challenge me by birthday.
Sorry.
It's okay. I wouldn't mind you. I wouldn't even mind you if you bet $1 per month.
Huh? Why? Wait.
Rena panicked or suddenly being challenged to a wager. She's just eating. Hope you enjoying it.
Sorry, did you hear the slurping? Sorry.
I hear it. I'm not sure what the streaming is. Given how panicked she is, I'm certain she doesn't have much allowance left this month. It's just sending her into a panic about something as simple as a birthday is so fun. I can't help myself.
You're a dick.
Yeah, I know.
You're not.
What?
Shut up. Oh wait, that's...
Me on.
So that means you were born in April, Kate-chan?
Right on.
Oh, I thought you were going to say righto for some reason.
Righto. Too bad, Rena. I'm already far older than Rena.
Oh, I see. Then you're the same age as me-chan.
I think so.
Oh, right. Well, it's just a few months. That gap will open up again soon enough.
Mion snickered through her nose.
Tsuka's a dick. No, he's not a dick. He has one. Sorry.
I mean,
I'm just
you're
taking
not
a
wrong.
fact.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Just a mature, rated 18.
True. This is a,
So it's okay.
This is a mature stream.
It's a mature stream for people, not for people with the weak heart, mind.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey now, that's not something to get all high and mighty about.
Every time he says "Hey now," I just think of "Hey now, you're a rock star."
A rock star, get your game on now. Yeah.
Every single time he says "Hey now" so many times, man.
It's like I don't know. No.
Yeah, I get it. Like,
as if I'm one to talk. Now that you mention it, you're in a high grade, right, Mion?
if you're into underclassmen, then I can be an underclassman from now on.
Mii-chan, you're not making any sense to me.
Just by seeing Rena's blushing face, you could tell she knew exactly what she meant by it, though.
Oh shit. There you go.
Then Satoko and Rika-chan are underclassmen. Their grade is so different that they should be in a different school, shouldn't they?
Wait.
I guess you're. Oh, we'll see. That's.
What? The jelly is hard to eat. Okay, so I have to slurp it from the cup. Oh wait, that's my turn. Oops. Why didn't you tell me?
I was waiting for you to notice.
Oh, fucker.
Keiichi-kun, your hairs are a bit too young, I think.
You're not making any sense yourself, Rena. I'll just grab onto her head and scruff it up a bit.
That's what you do, man. Exactly.
Yeah?
Not that I mind.
Stop it!
I wondered about it before, yeah? This guy from East London.
Oh yeah?
I wondered about it before, yeah? I was wondering why the school has different school years all mixed up.
There aren't enough classrooms. Can't help it. We're poor. This building's being rented from the forestry services after all.
When she says it like that, it makes sense.
I'll make it auto.
I've thought our school was strange for a while now. The schoolyard is gravel. There are rooms that aren't for classes, and there's some strange sort of construction machinery outside.
Oh shit.
Why is it being borrowed? What happened to the real school?
Wait,
It's you.
this is me, right?
Yes.
Okay. There was one here forever. Wait, there was one here forever from before the war. They got dilapidated. Bleh. They closed it down. Yes, thank you.
It probably was a grand old schoolhouse.
Because of that, the students would have to attend the school in the city, and that's pretty far though, you know?
Which school would that be?
Did you know there's a school if you pass by the Okinomiya train station, turn at the hospital, and head towards the... My brain...
Pediatric.
What?
Pediatrics.
Theatrics? Department? Arigato. Why?
I couldn't tell where that was by the location, but I understood it was pretty far from Rena's reaction.
Well, that's why. You guys that didn't want to commute to Okinomiya rented out the building from the forestry services and are attending the pseudo schoolhouse here. About... Wait, who's saying that?
Whoever it works.
About how
I think
many
Neon.
children in Hinamizawa go here? There are quite a lot of kids that come here on bike. Well, since they're attending this really messed up school, it might be pretty hard for them to get into higher education.
Oh, that's me. Oh, no, that's you.
It's not true, Mika. If you study properly, you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's right. That's right.
Wait, is that?
I totally agree with Renan on this one.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
No,
Let's try our best. I
That's,
can't tell who's who. Oh,
yeah.
I can't. It's so hard.
Just go based off the character movement to the back.
All of you, try your best. This old man will be rooting for you.
Not just us, you too. You should be preparing for exams, should you? The future is bleak with grades like this.
Fine, fine. If I get stuck, then I'll just mooch off Kei-chan as he works forever.
What do you mean by work forever? What do you mean?
Hey! Oh. You're too loud. Be quiet during self-study.
Yeah, shut up, bitch.
Oh.
Insane.
The teacher yelled at all three of us. It was completely our fault. Satoko saw it and chortled haughtily. Chortled. I stuck out my tongue at her in response. It's just as Mion says. This school has nothing to do with higher education. But it makes up for that by having lots of valuable things other schools don't. Like what?
Oh, do you wanna read?
To you? These are tips, right? Before moving on to the second chapter.
These are basically like extras.
Why do they call them tips?
Wakanai. Maybe we need it for later.
Yeah, I'm thinking like.
Do we need tips? Is that gonna be like a deaf, like, do or die quiz?
Let's just do the tips, shall we?
Huh?
Yeah, let's just look at it, I guess.
The boy? It's ASM, not ASM actually. Just reading.
Reading. There's a lot of reading, so.
Just think of it
yes.
like, you know, a podcast, but not really.
In a way, yeah. So, just to break down for since Rasmus has come in, we're playing Higurashi. It is a bit of a horror game, so be warned. This is to build up at the moment though, so it's all fine for now. Currently, I am the narrator / KT, and Shiro was taking all the other voices because they're all girls. So,
Women.
women, yes, they're all women, and Shiro is voicing them all. So, hope you enjoy my narration and Shiro's voice acting, and yeah, if you guys haven't had a good day.
Yeah.
Cool. So, it's only June, but it's already so hot. I could hear the Higurashi outside chirping. And at night there are mosquitoes.
I'm in charge of sound effects, okay?
Okay. It might as well be summer already. My only salvation was that the mornings were still cool.
Wait. Because I lost a lot of matches. Oh. I hope you get better soon, bro.
Shooting out matches? Oh no. Ow.
It's okay, the PMP is always available. Foreman Penthouse.
So the PMP, aka the pimp.
Poor
What,
man
PM?
Penthouse.
Yeah, I know. No, yes, yeah. PMP, pimp. Permanent strike house. Pum up. Okay, fine. Pum up.
Pump. Yes.
Declare summer.
I do declare. No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
kidding.
Summer, I do declare.
Satoko was flapping her skirt languidly. That's pretty unladylike there.
Understandable.
If she was a little brat, she still was a girl.
She does seem quite cool with just a single button-up shirt. I'm so jealous. From her.
Wait, what?
From how I see things, the skirt you were wearing would look like it would be much cooler. A girl like you just wouldn't understand. Wearing jeans during the season and how steamy the crotch gets? What?
Oh. What pudding? Yeah? Wait. Okay.
It gets steamy. Oh.
This girl is gonna imagine something indecent. Rena's summer clothes have a nice refreshing color. I feel cooler just looking at them.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, because you said that, so it's mine. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Keep up, man.
I really do feel pretty cool. I don't wish my summer clothes were as breezy as Brenna's. But Tsuka-chan, your summer clothes are so cute, being a one piece and all. I like to wear your summer clothes. This is actually quite stuffy, you know. I don't believe what you're wearing will feel much cooler. It'll be so much more fun with cute clothes. Oh.
I had a feeling that Rena and Satoko's base values were fundamentally different.
Oh.
One Piece, go, no.
Oh, Jesus.
One
Oh,
piece
so
of
that ass safe.
ass.
These are literal kids.
Yeah, bruh. You want young underage okay. Let me call the police on you.
Yeah.
Jail! Call the police.
Yes, Sage. What's your defense?
What?
I never targeted someone. Maybe it was Manat for I don't wear a One Piece, man. Sure. More power to you. Understandable.
I wear a lot of One Pieces.
That's true.
I like One Pieces. They're cool. This is you, by the way.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Speaking of which, our school doesn't have a uniform.
Yeah. It doesn't. As long as they're proper, then regular clothes are fine.
There are quite a few students in regular clubs. There were a few wearing uniforms, but they were all the same design and rather plain. What's the uniform they're all wearing? They're all the same.
That's the city school's uniform. It's not like that's a rule, but they're all wearing them.
Speaking of which, everyone in our group is wearing a different uniform, aren't we? Did you go out of your way to get them from somewhere?
Why, yes, Leon sends to play them. Just Relative Friends are a second-hand clothing store. They can get school clothes from all over the country for cheap, they say.
So you asked his relatives to get a bunch of unique schooling stuff. Yeah, she probably loved using her friends as dress-up dolls. That must be a strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's a second-hand clothing store, but stocking clothing schools all over the country? That's pretty strange for a second-hand clothing store. You said that twice!
The amount of times you have to say second-hand clothing store.
I wonder where the second-hand clothing store is. And I wonder how I can get employed at the second-hand clothing store. How do we even get stuff from a second-hand clothing store? I couldn't possibly know how to get to that clothing store. Anyway. What's the point of stocking up clothes from faraway schools they know nothing about?
Mm.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, no,
Is that you?
No.
But they also have used school swimsuits and PE uniforms. I don't like the idea of having used ones though.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like the shop makes much money. They probably have me on pitch and help so they can make a bit more.
A Mion-san. That Mion-san says I'll be a big hit and become a great star with such conviction.
A second-hand clothing store that stocked school uniforms would be a big hit.
I can see it.
Eh,
Like a cosplay store.
I don't get it. Like the murder being about after 3 essays, honestly, I don't think it'd be exactly wrong. It's very much a long haul game.
When is the murder? After 3
We had,
more
we
essays.
had a bit of murder in the beginning.
It's no murder.
A
Yeah.
bit of a taste of a murder. Hang on, I'm gonna go get my pluggy phone thingy. Charge it out.
I'm gonna finish this jelly.
Alright, give me a second. Give me like literally a minute.
Would you say Kosh Party got some trauma in it? Not in particular. I watched Kosh Party too.
Would you say
Alright.
Corpse Party got some trauma in it? Trauma
It's pretty
lessons.
scary though. Someone nuts in your mouth.
I took it a little too easy on the morning of my day off. I was totally late. Today was the day Ren and Mion were going to show me around Hinamiza.
Oh my god.
Ren and Mion were already waiting at the meeting place.
Very shocking.
Russell Rouse. God damn it. That's the D's must come in.
Okay. Sorry. Omatase.
I do would say.
You sure?
Yeah.
Kei-chan, you're late.
Sorry. The show I was watching last night was really interesting. Blame that.
Haha. So that's your excuse for being late and keeping 2 girls waiting?
John, you just got here yourself.
Last night's episode of A Day in the Life of was interesting. Wait, that's it? A Day in the Life of was interesting, wasn't it?
She was just as guilty as me. Rena was carrying a pretty heavy-looking handbag. What is that?
It's a human body.
Yun answered my unspoken question with a wink. That's right. Rena really did make a picnic.
Kei-chan, after you left, Rena pulled out all the stops. Not like, wait.
It's not like I forced her to do it.
It was nothing, so don't worry about it, okay?
He's been like this since last night, you know. You take responsibility for this?
Alright. I'm a man after all. I'll take responsibility.
Huh? Responsibility? For what? For what?
You repeat yourself twice every time I swear.
I think it's just me. As we both turned down slowly to look at Rena, our gazes drifted downwards to the massive handbag she was carrying. It didn't seem logically feasible that it would be entirely filled with lunchboxes. Except, this was Rena we were talking about here. About 2 kilos, I guess?
When Rena was picking it up, I could see she was struggling a bit. I say 5.
You're exaggerating. Keiji-kun's a boy after all. I thought you could probably eat a lot, so you made a lot. Okay? Let's get going. Eat. Oh.
Just from the way she was lifting up, I couldn't believe the only things in there were lunchboxes. Correction, I say 5 kilos too.
I'll help out, but all of it needs to be eaten. I won't forgive you if you make Rena sad, got it?
Make yourself hungrier.
What?
The only thing I could do at that moment was exercise a bit to make myself hungrier.
Arigato. Life Opera is actually a book? Seriously?
Yeah, it's a book, and also like it's a series. It's like a bunch of series. It's on like I know like on YouTube. It's like the day in the life of like a butcher or something like that from like a few like YouTube channels, that kind of thing. You know? It's actually pretty interesting.
Interesting.
Having finished with the pleasantries, we began our leisurely stroll. A carefree walk, bathed in the gentle morning sunlight. I couldn't have even imagined something so wholesome existed during my time in the city. These were the boonies, after all. No slovenly desk jockeys trudging to work on the weekends out here. It really was a nice place, peaceful and quiet.
Aw.
As sparsely populated as the village was, you could still run into people just by walking around. Ah, good day.
Oh, I guess this is someone else.
So, someone else, random.
Good day. Oh, you opened my heart, my bargain, I believe.
My 2 companions exchanged greetings with everybody we ran across. All of these passerbys even knew my name. When did I become this famous? Past 3 people, and when all 3 of them knew me, I started to feel a bit paranoid.
It's a bit sad to say. Everyone knows everyone since there's so few people here in Hinamizawa. A world.
So that means when an unfamiliar face walks by, they automatically assume it's that Maya about a fellow who just moved here?
Yep, that's how it works out.
It was a process of elimination you can only pull off in a place like this, but it was quite effective. From now on, I'd better make sure to maintain a good reputation. The day I'm discovered accidentally gawking at a dirty magazine at the bookstore, I can expect all the villagers labeling me as a lech by the next day.
Oh wait.
Hinamizawa is not to be trifled with. That's not the end of this nightmare.
I wonder who this is. Is it me?
It's Rena.
It's Rena, right? Yeah.
Of course I know them. The first person we met was Old Man Takuzo from the Makino Bike Shop. His hobbies are bonsai and playing the flute.
Next, we met the grocer's second son, Daisuke-kun. Oh yeah, his hobby is sharpshooting, and he hopes to be an ace sniper in the future. And the person we just met was Mio-san, the nurse from the clinic. Her hobbies are birdwatching and photography.
You know the names of everyone we pass by? And even their profiles? Seeing my surprise, Mio and Rena exchanged looks and burst into laughter.
Well, yeah, we're not like the city where people hardly know their neighbors. Then let's wait, what? Then let's try it out. You there, who am I?
Your case.
Oh wait, is this someone else I assume?
Yeah.
Oh, that means you were saying the thing before. Oh my god. I hate this. But, haha, you're Keiichi Maibara. You say some mean things, but you're actually a kind, shy person.
Yeah.
I don't know who's talking.
Mion.
Neon, right?
Yes.
It's been 3 weeks since you transferred here. Your hobby's taking afternoon naps. Lately, you switched over to wearing boxers. What? Didn't you?
That's enough.
Boxers.
Enough of that. Apparently, there's absolutely nothing you can keep hidden here. Hinami-sama was not a place to be trifled with. Imagine if there was the client anything that trauma, that's true.
Oh my god. See, professional. I would want to go to a therapist who did that. It'd be pretty funny.
Seek professional help. I think you need more professional help after that therapist.
True.
This feels more like you guys are showing me off rather than showing me around.
That's right.
We're parading around like this after all. Don't y'all think so? Too? That Kei-chan's fitting right in here, Hinamizawa. The population in Hinamizawa is shrinking. So the villagers welcome anybody who's near here.
I thought about brushing it off with something to the effect of, "You're kidding me," but I held back. Have I ever greeted someone who just moved into the city like this before?
City's too big for that shit, bro.
Yeah. Thinking about that made me believe what they said wasn't a joke at all. We passed another person. Of course, we were called out again. We were called out to again the same way.
Oh my good day! Wonderful seeing you getting along! This lady here is Fujishima-san. Good day! Oh my Baraku! How wonderful of you having a lovely girl on each arm! Tanihana. How are you? Getting used to life here?
Instead of regurgitating a prepared response like I would have in the city, I responded with an emphatic nod. The old woman chuckled, voicing her appreciation of how energetic I was.
Good. Oh, wait.
As I looked back over to Rena and Neon, they gave me a wink.
Aw. Oh.
So now then, about time to have lunch? Maybe?
Rena's brilliant smile signaled the approach of an event that both Mion and I were trying to forget.
Wondering. Me too, man. And Finn as well.
We both looked at each other. I'm a man. I'll do what I can. But it's just too much.
It's fine, Kei-chan. Leave it to this old man.
And has never seemed as reliable as she does right now. I'd expect no list from the class representative.
Bruh. Rena. Oh, that's you.
Rena, if we're gonna eat, we might as well go somewhere with a good view.
Yes. Good idea. I agree.
Rena nodded her head happily in response to Mion's proposal.
I hate the like, why? Give dialogue box so I know who's who.
It is an old game, so.
True. Tired of guessing.
Cresting the top of a stone stairway, a shrine drawn straight out of my imagination appeared before us. It had worn down a bit through the years, but the fallen leaves had been swept up, giving it a tidy feeling.
This here's the Furude Shrine. It's probably the place with the best view around.
This place, be sure to remember it. On our next break, a festival will be held here.
Isn't it a bit too early in the season for a festival?
The Watanagishi isn't a summer festival. Long ago, it used to be a celebration of the end of winter.
I was embarrassed for assuming that the festivals had to be held in the summer.
Then spread out the lunch boxes and there.
Various colored lunchboxes were placed one after the other on top of the plastic sheet. It sure did smell delicious. It was Rena's home cooking. It went without saying that it would be delicious. But is it even possible to finish all of this? Hey, Mion, it'll take more than just a good view to get this all down, you know?
Oh shit. Oh.
Good afternoon.
Ika-chan and Satoko. Why are they here? Mion grinned over at me. I see. This was your secret plan. The power in numbers. You have my thanks, Mion. Following up when all the pieces are in place is my speciality.
Rena's had to come here since there was such a commotion. What's the meaning of this?
Take a look. It's time for lunch. Buffet style. A handmade gourmet meal by Rena.
I can see you that much. Why have you laid out a tarp on our property?
The temple is public grounds. It's not yours.
But they're members of the public. Am I wrong? If it's public property and we're members of the public, does that mean it's our property?
But it's
Yeah?
Is it?
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, she's right. This is everyone's property.
Wow. Ika-chan is such a good girl.
Yes.
Have a seat. Eat. After opening up a spot for Ika-chan, I promptly turned my back on Satoko.
Hold on 1 second. Where's my spot?
Spot for you and nothing for you to eat.
These nuts. Wait, but I did refine it. Huh? I miss my dragon too. Oh wait. I didn't hear it. Oh. It's okay. I said it earlier. But not. Yeah. Yeah, dragon these nuts me anyway.
Don't worry, there's some for you too.
I'll eat all of hers.
Wait,
Satoko.
is that? Oh.
Satoko.
I will not allow that. Rika! Chopsticks.
Satoko and I left at the boxes, having it out with each other.
Man, really? Kei-chan, you're really good at leading people on, huh? You might have a talent for this.
Have a plate for Michan and Rika-chan too.
Rena whipped out a pair of chopsticks and paper plates.
If you don't hurry, I'll be enough.
That's right. Okay. Shall we commence this battle?
Please eat a lot. There's enough for everyone.
Rena said as she opened up a thermos. Just then, I realized that this lunch was made under the assumption that 5 people would be eating.
Oh.
It didn't change how much there was, but the implication behind it was different.
I'm not gonna allow you to have this hamburger.
Using your elbows against the rules, Satoko. Rules.
Grabbing the back of my collar is also against the rules, bitch.
Language. It was a tough battle, blocking with her full momentum and an elbow in the opening moves. Satoko appeared to have the upper hand, but the difference in our proficiency of chopsticks proved to be fatal and gave me the upper hand.
No, that's like meatball!
Satoko Tojo has been at best numb. Satoko and I amicably began choking at the same time, falling backwards in spasm.
Yeah, it's like you're having a picnic.
I can't eat F.
Nika-chan patted me on the head to clear it, even though it was clearly stuck in my throat. Seeing that made Brenna blush and breathe heavily in excitement. It was almost like flowers were floating all around her. Yan advised Brenna to refrain from saying anything that could get her locked up. This is how our meals usually go. I do anything in my power, just so things can stay like this.
I'm dying. With this cherry music, I don't think so.
The thing about this stage is that they're both choking on food, so potentially even two.
Can I just say, I still know how to use chopsticks? It's okay.
Chopsticks are difficult to use, and even when you use it properly, some people say you're not using it right.
Yeah, there's different ways of using it.
Yeah, so I'm using it, and they're like, you're using it wrong. And I was like, no, I'm eating with it, right? And they're like, no, you're using it wrong. You gotta hold it like this. And I'm just like,
Yeah, it's kind of fucked.
As long as you can use it, you're fine.
As you can, yeah.
13. The intense battle calmed. And finally, everyone reached a point where they could begin talking. Receiving tea from the thermos, I let out a small sigh. I do wonder why there are so few words in Japanese to praise how something tastes.
Isn't it because the idea of togetherness during a meal didn't begin until the modern era?
Seems that long ago, people ate in silence.
Understandable?
It must have made the people preparing the food a bit sad, don't you think?
Ah, that's good.
Probably because back then the people were busy even while eating and didn't have the time to complement the flavor.
This is you.
No, just hearing that it's good makes me happy. That my effort was worth it, I mean.
She blushed a little as she said that.
Delicious.
For absolutely perfect timing, Nika-chan struck Rena directly with praise. She looked straight at her with an expression of bewitching innocence. After Rena uttered an unintelligible noise, a ring of smoke rose from her head with an audible poof.
Rika-chan, I'm gonna take you home. I mean, thank you. Really delicious.
Rena flushed red of excitement, embracing Nika-chan and rubbing her cheek against her so hard he could almost hear it. You're gonna set fire to her.
Oh god.
To reward Rika-chan for her praise. Ta-da! These are special.
Two apple rabbits. After sticking a toothpick into them, she thrust them towards Nika-chan.
Yo, apple rabbits look so good, but then I don't know how you would come.
After Nika-chan accepted them, the mood suddenly shifted in a bizarre way.
What? Oh.
What is it, Satoko? Was it that defiant look?
Has everyone prepared proper praise to receive apples from Renaissance?
Don't push yourself. What kind of praise can you think of with your weak vocab?
Well, then allow me to show you.
After Satoko flashed me on a mere defiant look, she changed the tone of her voice suddenly.
Hey, so Rena on John's lunch. Look at that fun, it was yummy too.
Satoko looked up at her proudly while talking cutesy.
Oh no, she's gonna fall for it.
What? How's that praise? It's not even persuasion by tears. It's persuasion by cuteness, isn't it? This is a Rena limited special skill. She blushed and her head spun, waving around in circles. Don't fall for it, Rena! Of course, that was asking for the impossible. Rena glopped Satoko and began rubbing her cheek against her.
Yum. Yeah.
Your chapsticks.
Cute! Satoko, so cute! That's cute! Oh.
Swish. Stab. Push. Satoko was also presented with apple rabbits. After stuffing them into her mouth, she looked over at Mion and me again with that defiant gaze. It took only 5 seconds to take down Rena. That's not fair! To think this shit's such a trick.
Sick. If it upsets you so much, why not reward Rena with some praise?
Damn it! That was a dirty trick. First of all, that wasn't even praise.
Satoko, you think you've won with that, don't you? How about I show you guys something much better than your superficial gimmicks?
That sounds great, Mia. What kind of trick is it?
Kei-chan's gonna be the one who does it.
What?
Oh. Actually, I know what line she's thinking of.
I don't know.
You don't? Really?
I don't think so.
It's a very typical like, oh, your cooking's so like, your cooking's delicious, you make a great
Oh.
wife.
Yeah.
The praise every woman who cooks will want to hear. Oh wait, what is this?
It's Rion.
Is it?
Rion, sorry.
What I have you show me then? The writhing of an old maid.
Plan of attack she suggested was wicked. But it was the only thing we had to beat Satoko. After sipping my tea, I started talking very naturally and calmly.
Oh no.
Perfectly. It really is good, isn't it? This is all freshly made, right?
No, actually, almost all of it was frozen stuff.
Then which ones did you make fresh?
Well, it's embarrassing. Do I really have to say? Must I?
From the synergy of boy plus handmade lunchbox, her expression had melted into euphoria. I already know. This one, right?
Huh?
Rena turned an even deeper shade of red, the words, "I can't believe it," practically written on her face.
Can you tell? How that I made it?
Of course, Miana told me beforehand. It's been perfect so far. After acting like I was shy, I waited a beat. Next would be the finisher. It had your smell.
Okay, that's a creepy line.
Silence enveloped the area. Rena, face still completely red, froze solid. With a small yelp, Satoko also blushed. Of course I did too. I sure would like to try one of Rena's handmade rabbits. Or something. Even if this was all because I was competing against Satoko, I felt like I had crossed the line by a good 9 yards, I think.
It's not the line I thought of. I'm disappointed.
It's a little, it's kind of odd. It's kind of an odd
This line is so weird compared to
It's like
the
a bit
line
like,
I would have won for.
yeah, something like that. I guess it'd be a bit cliche, but going against cliche, I guess. Cool.
Cliche works out. That's cliche for a
And
reason.
at that moment, boosh! It was a Tupperware container filled with rabbits.
Please, it's okay, Chiku. This is penny for you.
At work. Instantly, dozens of the apples were shoved into my mouth, knocking me over. Whoa, okay. Oh, wait, no.
Okay. Wait. You know how you use Twitch slang while chatting with friends? I thought peg was.
That's Pog. Pog, it's not Peg.
Pog. Peg. Oh my god, that's so peg.
Wait, Ralph, you successfully mixed Peng and Pog together, but it wasn't quite the combination you thought it would be.
Can peg me. Very much peg.
Yeah, Jeff would like that, wouldn't you?
Okay.
Okay. Say, Kate-kun.
My head was forced to be laid upon her lap, and even more apples were shoved into my mouth. While she was squealing, one apple after another was forced into my mouth. More and more apples.
Kei-chan, that was a beautiful sacrifice. How's that, Sadako? It's a complete victory, isn't it?
I can't believe such trickery. It doesn't bother me at all.
Satoko ground her teeth, mortified. We did it! I claimed victory as my consciousness drifted slowly away from me.
Gonna make sure socks are
Death by
ironed.
apple.
Yes, death by apple. Death by bunny apple.
Yeah.
Ooh.
At that time, Rena stopped her squealing as she suddenly realized something.
Because not eating it? Did the salt water make it too strong, maybe?
Looking over, Rika-chan had pulled the toothpick out the apple rabbit, placed it into her cupped hands, and seemed to be at a loss for what to do.
Mr. Rabbit, I feel sorry for him. I want to save him.
That was the sound of blood splurting from Rena's nose.
Tonight, I will make you whole.
She shook sporadically, her head wobbling back and forth. Then, coming back to her senses, she took all of the apples around me, gathered them up with a flip, and fixed them back up on a plate.
Now, they're all just fine, okay? Here, I'll give them to you, Rika-chan. Okay? Okay?
Rika-chan raised up Satoko's hand like a referee after having that plate of rabbit shoved up to her. She whispered,
This is our victory.
Wow.
Nanny! A comeback!
Hi, Thus, my sacrifice ended up being in vain.
Rena's keeping
There,
it boy.
first casualty.
Yeah, Rena! Rena.
I still have no idea what's happening in the stream. To give you like a general overview, right? So far, it's just been slice of life stuff. We are K. So the main character Keiichi Maibara has just transferred into into the country, aside from the city. And so we've only been here for about, I think, a month, or maybe less than that. And so, yeah, so it's a story. It's just kind of like building up everything to the eventual shitstorm. But yeah, right now it's just the kind of the slice of life section of this anime.
Yeah,
Sorry, game, I should say.
the build up, it's like
It's
slow.
it's essays long. Like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting it to be this long.
Do you want me
Yeah.
to read, like, take over?
No, it's okay. I mean, it's technically, you're doing all the other voices. I'm doing the narration. I think it's a pretty good split.
Okay.
I wasn't done.
I didn't mean to
Open
press left click. It's
the
okay.
log. Open the log. Oh, wait.
There.
It was a fun-filled, crazy day. But as soon as the sun began to set, the end of the day really did come quickly.
Later, Rena, Kei-chan. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for the day, Mion. I had a great time.
See you tomorrow.
Satoko and Rika-chan went home as well. We parted ways with Mion, and it ended up with just Rena and myself enjoying the evening air on our way home.
Oh.
Thanks for coming today, Keiichi-kun. Was it fun?
Yeah. Lots of fun. Almost feels like a waste to go home now.
Then, well, would you mind taking a little detour, maybe? Maybe?
A detour? Is it far?
It's a bit of a walk, but it won't take long.
Since we've been walking around all day, I must have seemed a bit tired. Not feeling like teasing Rena, I quietly nodded. Traversing a small path and up a hill, the land suddenly stretched out before us. There, what looked like the remains of a dilapidated construction site came into view. A large heap of garbage spread out off towards the swamp. Probably illegal dumping. I recalled it being in the newspaper.
It's been quite a while. I wonder what's here.
When you say it's been a while, you mean the business you had here was with this garbage pile?
It's not garbage. To me, it's a pile of treasure.
Rena had already entered that well-known cute of hers. So that meant there was something cute here?
Wow, a new pile. I can't wait.
She bounded up the unstable slope. I'd expect no less from a born and bred country girl. Hey, wait, I'm coming. Ooh, whoa! My city race self was completely pitiful.
It's alright, just stay right there, Keiichi-kun. It won't take long.
Rena kindly declined my accompaniment. Don't fall! Watch your step!
I'm fine. There's nothing at all.
This conversation is very,
Yeah, but she can actually not slip.
Wow! Okay. Okay.
yes.
You know that.
Yes. Okay. Literally bounding up the heap of trash, Rena disappeared over to the other side. I didn't like being left behind, but I was still plenty tired from the whole day, so I just ended up waiting. Without the lively Rena around, the surrounding area quickly fell into silence. The cry of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. Fairly exhausted, I began to feel a bit sleepy. Just then, The sudden noise of scattering pebbles alerted me to somebody's presence. Startled, I turned around.
Who's this buff man?
Standing there was a typical looking photographer. Typical looking.
That typical looking to you, my guy looks like a survivalist.
Dude, I need an energy drink for this. It is a little bit slow, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Anyway, standing there was a typical looking photographer. He spied over me through his camera. His body was tanned and fit. But something about him seemed unreliable, and he had a bit of an aloof air about him.
Reading a lot.
Well, it didn't seem like he was a bad guy in any case.
Like a tank, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Whoa. He surprised me. Although startled when I turned around, he overplayed his reaction. That was my line. I'm the one who's surprised here. My bad. I didn't mean to startle you. Are you from Hinamizawa? I gathered that he wasn't from that question. Unfazed by my suspicious outlook, he introduced himself about my prompting. I'm Tomitake, freelance photographer. I come to Hinamizawa from time to time. I didn't ask who you were. Quite rude to photograph someone without consent, one would think. My bad. I mainly photograph wild birds. You can't refuse, you see. So, what? You're saying I'm the same as the birds?
I don't think he photographed you.
No, well, you see, that image of a man in the twilight was just picturesque. I apologize for trying to take your picture without asking. Well, those are pretty slick. All that noise I felt from being startled just flew away as he buttered me up. I had no intention of hanging around with this guy trying to get cozy with me, especially it didn't seem like Rena would be back soon. But this older guy, Tomitake-san, he didn't mind my cautious responses and continued rambling on about himself. I say.
Oh.
Keiichi-kun! Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm finished now.
Rena popped her head out from one of the lower piles of garbage and waved her hand.
You have someone with you?
Oh wait.
There we go.
Probably buff from trying to keep the camera from not shaking. Yeah.
True.
You need a very strong, stable hand.
Some of those cameras with like humongous lenses are like.
Yeah, they're actually really heavy.
Yeah.
So you need to be built. Being a cameraman's tough, man. You okay?
Oh, sorry. So this is the guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have someone with you? What should we be doing over there? That's what I wanted to know. Dunno. Maybe she's checking on that dismembered corpse that was out here long ago. Tomitake-san looked shaken up by that for a moment. Uh-oh. I responded like if I would be talking to Ren and the others.
Oh.
It was quite a disturbing incident. We still haven't found one of the arms.
What?
Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you. You were waiting a while, I guess.
I'd best leave you two lovebirds alone.
Wait, who was
What?
the one who said that?
What do you mean? It was Tomitake-san. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found out one of the arms. Yeah.
Was it Tomitake?
Yes.
Wait, so that's a thing?
What do
An
you mean?
actual case?
Yeah,
An
yeah,
actual murder?
yeah. Something happened a while back, I guess. It's like a bit of like backstory, I guess. I must leave you two lovebirds alone. Again, my apologies for starting with Keiichi-kun. Tomitake-san chortled suggestively, then dissipated into the twilight. Missing my chance to retort put me off a bit.
Keiichi-kun, are you angry? Why, I wonder.
It wasn't Rena's fault, so I decided to just brush it off for now. How was it? Find a treasure trove?
Oh yeah, so listen. You see, there was a Colonel Sanders doll.
A Colonel Sanders doll? Oh, that thing. Those statues they always have in front of the fried chicken place? The life-size dummy?
Yeah, Colonel Sanders. So cute. I wanna take it home.
I couldn't tell how she decides what's cute or not, but, well, she seems to want it. It's garbage, right? No one would care if you just take it home, right?
Become the base of another pile. I can't figure it out easily. There's no lamppost over there, so it'll get dark pretty soon.
Rena seemed quite down about finding her treasure and not being able to bring it back. I'll help you out. To repay for that delicious picnic you prepared today.
Thank you.
Birds heading home to roost proclaim that nightfall would soon be upon us.
Keiichi-kun's gonna help. I can take Colonel Sanders home.
Rena staggered along as if intoxicated in her dreamy state of mind. I tried asking her in a way that wouldn't take her out of her cheery state. Hey, Rena. Long ago, did something happen here? You heard.
Seems like they were building a dam here. I don't know the details though.
Just wondering if you knew about, you know, an accident or something?
I don't know.
Her tone was disturbingly frank. It sounded more like a denial than an answer. I must have appeared rather dumbstruck. Rena quite quickly lightened her expression.
My brain is trying to think, right? Sorry. Interrupt. But so if Tomitake-san was the one who said they still haven't found an arm, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
That means we were joking. We didn't know what happened, but we were joking how she was trying to find a dismembered corpse, like randomly.
Oh, I think we knew this beforehand about the corpse, like being out here at some point, and then so we joked about it, and it's like, oh, and then the older guy was like, oh, you know, they still haven't found the arm, you know.
That was out here long ago.
Yeah, because I remember he talked a little bit about the illegal dumping, so I guess he would have known about this as well. So he joked about it, saying like, oh, maybe he's looking for that dismembered corpse, you know. And Tomitake was just like, oh.
I responded like it was quite a and then he got interrupted by that timing. Okay. Okay.
Actually, I didn't live here until a year ago.
Huh? You transferred here too? I was sure that.
Well, you see, I don't really know much from before that. Sorry.
Don't really want to talk about it. That was the kind of feeling she gave me. Thinking about it, of course it would be like that. This wasn't the type of things girls would enjoy talking about. It was quite a disturbing incident. It seems they haven't been able to find one of the arms. If it's just like Tomitake-san said, then I had a feeling only the Higurashi would know.
Oh, okay, it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. Coming. You ever see new tabs? My bar mentioned the damn side murder this month. Hey, newspaper edition. Sick. Okay, now we get to see it. View new tips. Okay, my bar manor. Okay, Chan, you're not stinking rich.
What is this all? What's this all of a sudden? Did I come to school in a limo before?
How much do you get for a monthly allowance?
About $10.
Mine, that's a rather plebeian amount. His lunch is made of normal stuff. He isn't rich.
What are you talking about? To be asked out of nowhere how much I get and it's told as a plebeian amount?
Sorry.
Rena seemed to pick up on my dubious expression and started giggling.
Hey Chan, your house, you know, it's pretty big. Yeah, so the architecture has people all around Hinamizawa calling it the Maibara Manor, and it sort of stands out.
Maibara Manor?
Since the house is so big, everybody's gossiping, wondering exactly how rich you are.
I see. Now I get it. Well, the frame of it is huge. I see how it could cause some misunderstandings.
From my deduction, I wager they spent too much money on building the house, and that's why they now broke. Broke? How very, very unfortunate.
Yika-chan took pity on me as she patted my head. I go from being treated like a millionaire to a beggar. Yeah, sorry for ruining your imaginations, but we aren't millionaires or poor. We're the image of a normal, average household.
You can't call it normal with that huge house. The entranceway is all grand and the gate is large enough for a large truck to get through. That's not normal at all.
They do say the bigger your house, the more prosperous you are. The reason the house is so big is because Dad's studio is in it too. There are a bunch of different workshops and lots of his work are hung up in different places. All of them are huge too. For those reasons, the family actually uses only a third of the house for day-to-day living. He planned it out so people in cars could come in to see the gallery he opens up in the house someday. By the way, the entrance Emion is talking about is one for the studio, and it's normally sealed off. The entranceway the Mayabara family actually uses is a very plain and simple one. The interior is much different from how it looks on the inside, or from the outside.
I'd really like a chance to explore Kei-chan's house. Claiming not to be rich but having a home like that. What could be hidden there?
What dead bodies?
Maybe there's something cute hidden. Oh. They probably had no money to purchase furniture, so it's filled with Spartan rooms. If there are carpeted rooms, I would love to try rolling around on the floor. Wow, that'd be great! So great! I wanna roll around too!
Seems like your imagination was just piling on. Well, sometime in the near future, it wouldn't be too bad to invite them all to my house.
You just
Dad is a sucker for the ladies, so he might even let them look around his studio.
monk-us.
Don't say that. Don't say that about your dad.
Don't say that about your dad, bro. What the fuck?
The cry of the Higurashi crescendo as the sky towered over everything. It was hot, but the air was clear. It smelled like the beginning of summer.
Okay, this one is what I wanna see. Okay, you know, I can read this.
Do you wanna read this? Okay, yo.
This is the newspaper, so you can take a break for now.
We got some ominous music as well.
From the June. I almost read XXS Kiss Kiss. Oh my god. This is 1979 edition. The Shishibone... Shibone? Well, I don't know. Shishibone City.
Shishibone, yeah.
Shishibone, right? City. Ukinomiya Police Station. June. Beep. Late at night. Suspects were arrested on suspicion of murder and improper disposal of a corpse. The main offender has been added to the wanted list nationwide. According to our sources, the six suspects were at the Hinamizawa Dam construction site workroom on the beep at 9 p.m., where they are suspected to have assaulted and murdered the site overseer, beep as a group, dismembering his body and hiding it. On the beep at 8 o'clock in the morning, a report was filed by the Shishibone City Hospital in which a male suspect alluded to having murdered Mr. Hurup. When questioned at the police station, the individual confessed to the crime, since a portion of the body was recovered at the location he gave. He was arrested that afternoon on suspicion of murder and mutilation of a corpse. The rest of the suspects were arrested the same day, but the main culprit is still at large. Police are currently on his trail. The motive is purported to be a drunken verbal dispute during which he killed the victim in a fit of anger. However, as there are multiple inconsistencies with their testimonies, the investigation is ongoing. Oh, that's it?
That's it? Okay. It was just like a newspaper clipping.
Ah.
It's just a newspaper clipping, I guess.
I guess. So they were saying how it's just some random murder mutilated it. Okay.
Save it. Continue.
Back with Graves. Okay, Rao. We're on chapter 3 now. A Colonel Sanders? Ah, of course, that's right up her alley.
I understand her wanting to take home Satoko and Nika-chan. But I can't understand Colonel Sanders. What's so good about that four-eyed geezer?
Probably better to hear it from Rena, don't you think? She'll probably just say, because she's so cute, though.
Does Rena often go to the construction site to hunt for treasure?
Every now and then she says she's going to have a look.
But the girl's hurry, drumming around in the garbage, is, well...
If Rena enjoys it, then I think it's fine.
What are they doing with it? Damn construction. And my window.
What?
No. My Discord window closed for a second.
Okay.
It had been bugging me since yesterday. Like an itch I couldn't scratch.
Couldn't type properly because of...
Don't worry. Eat your grapes, bro.
Hope you enjoy them. It was cancelled a long time ago. Everyone Wait, is that... No,
Sorry,
I think
no,
that's
no,
me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone gathered together and fought against it.
Hearing an ominous word like fought come from Mika-chan's mouth startled me.
That's right! It was unbelievable! They said Hinamizawa would be sunk into the reservoir and we had no say in the matter.
So, I'm only able to be here because the process succeeded.
Sorry. I didn't keep you, did I? Did I? My deepest apologies, Keiji-san. It took me a while to powder my nose.
God, I already know. Sadako,
Wait till you can until you really have to go. It's a lot easier since it shoots right out. What?
What?
So what are you saying?
What is he saying? What?
yeah, right.
Maybe I can okay.
How dare you? Oh, sorry. That's you again. Sorry.
It's okay. Hey, Kintaro-san. How do you speak that way to a maiden of unparalleled beauty such as myself?
Who is she calling a maiden? If Satoko really was a maiden, she wouldn't have reacted like that. The usual hijinks ensued.
Now then, gentlemen, in accordance with the rules of society, I bring a point to discussion. Wait, what? He, Keiichi Maibara-kun, wishes to be included as a member in our activities. What say you?
Iginash!
But
Rena has no objection. How? I wonder if the likes of this peasant is up to the task. Yes, Satoko both approve.
The three that Mion had queried forced their approval.
a unanimous decision. Congratulations, Keiichi Maibara-kun. I present you the honor of being allowed to take the entrance exam for our club.
Entrance. Start from the beginning. I didn't say I would join. What club is this?
What a club does, you see. In order to cope with our complicated society, we perform various activities under different sets of rules. Sometimes they are in your favor, and sometimes they work against you.
I'm pretty weak, so I prefer you didn't single me out. Let's try to get along. You're so naive, Rena. The law of the jungle, survival of the fittest.
This is starting to sound a bit sketchy. Oh. What kind of club was it?
The Sun and Up, it's a club where we play games together.
Ika-chan was the only one to answer my question with a pertinent response. So basically this club put Mion's hobby of collecting games to use. By playing the various games that Mion had hoarded every day, it seemed that, depending on the day, there were prizes for the winner or a penalty for the person who finished in last place.
I'll make this clear right now. We aren't playing house here. You should treat each win or loss as if your life depends on it, alright? And before literally.
Well, what's wrong with just having fun? Don't make it sound so crazy.
The first rule of a society, aim only for first place. Going at it half-assed just because it's a game is not allowed.
Rule number 2 of a society. For that reason, you're obligated to make all possible efforts.
The way Satoko said it, it sounded like she was saying, use any means necessary.
Of course, I will do my best too. I'm pretty weak, but I'm trying my best.
I knew what they were trying to say. In a game where everyone is aiming for the top, it's rather unsportsmanlike to play for fun. Right, then I too will go all out. With that, I was finally ready for the rite of initiation, my baptism of their club.
A word of warning, Kei-chan. Rena can get pretty nasty.
This initiation looked like it's gonna be rough. Mion began fishing around in the student lockers in the back of the room. They have the games here at school. Well, it's club equipment, so I guess that's fine.
Complicated games will put Kei-chan at a disadvantage, so today we'll play a game that you should be familiar with. How about a standard card game, like Old Bachelor? Sorry?
Hello?
You okay?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Hi. Okay. Wait. You can't hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do this.
Wait, what? I don't know who's saying this, but...
I think Mion.
Yeah? Can't really get
Yeah.
into it unless it's a penalty. This time, the loser will be sentenced to having their face drawn on. What do you think?
it won't be oil-based paint, right? Right?
Oil-based face painting with oil-based paint? That's perfect! Satoko cheered the idea on. She didn't even flinch at the thought of such a severe penalty. It seemed like she was raring to go. If it's going to be like this, then I can't lose either. I guess that's... No. Old Bachelor is pretty much still the same as Old Maid. There's only one difference. There's no Joker. In its place, one card is pulled out at the start. Meaning there will be one card about a match left over at the end. You don't know which card will end up being the Joker. It's a pretty thrilling game.
Oh yeah, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, also yes, PMP Pog.
I'll take out the card now.
I took out one card and left it face down on the table. Everybody stared at the card intently.
Well, wait, is that you?
I guess me. Well, it'll be pretty obvious in the end game. No way to tell at the start. But the rest of them were very serious. They didn't seem as relaxed as I was. They compared their cards to the one face down, all the while gauging each other's reactions. It was as if they could see that what the face down card was. No, it couldn't be. This deck is pretty worn out. No way. Can everyone tell by the scratches what the card on the table is? Remember the second rule of our society. Oh, sorry. Say it again.
Okay. Remember, the second rule of our society. Keiichi-san must try his hardest to win as well. Number of cards are quite unique. Keiichi-kun should be able to remember them pretty quickly.
She said it so matter-of-factly. Suits me just fine. Don't think that a little thing like that could be your crutch. I lashed out angrily, but it's rather obvious I was at a disadvantage. After all, they got so far as to memorize the wear and tear for each individual card. This wasn't a simple game of Old Bachelor. This was a test. And they will tell you with the answer sheet in front of them. Bring it! I'll take advantage of your carelessness and beat you at your own game. That baseless confidence would soon be crushed.
How about I tell you your hand starting from the right?
Oh, jeez.
3, 4, 9, Jack, Queen.
Wow!
By the way, the Bachelor is the Jack of Diamonds.
Yeah!
I can't even tell what they are, even if you switch them around. I'm out.
I thought I was prepared, but for it to be this brutal, just overwhelming. Demons! You're all demons! Red isn't a demon, are you?
The Demon King.
Yeah, there was demon on them all.
Sorry, Keiichi-kun. This is the 3 of hearts limit. I'm out.
Not even a hint of mercy. Random, even Nika-chan. These club activities were to be trifled with. An alumnus of this club would definitely survive in the cruelest of situations. If
If our entire class had sent self-detonating collars strapped to our necks and were dropped into a deathmatch on a deserted island, you guys would probably make it to fish like water. That's very specific, but okay. I can already picture their joy to hunt down each of their classmates.
Okay, thanks for the like, page.
It's a lowest point system. The order itself dictates the points. Whoever has the lowest points total wins.
Since KT finished last, he has 5 points.
Oh, never mind.
35 marked out on my scoreboard.
I think it's unfair to Keiji-kun if we don't use a new deck.
It's fine. Kichi's a man after all.
Sorry.
He can turn the tables even if the odds are stacked against him, right?
It's training for a lowly peasant to scamper home and soak their pillow in tears, don't you think?
Wow.
Petite hand laid us on top of my head, which was trembling from uncontainable frustration. Think of chance.
Naito. Ooh.
Yeah. Thanks to Dika's words of encouragement, I was able to calm down. You need to be calm, especially when you're cornered. That's the power I can muster during this crisis. Think clearly, Keiichi Maebara. Take your time and look at the cards carefully. It's just as Rena said, each card has its own distinct markings that make them stand out. Memorizing that should be pretty simple. Think about what you can do in this situation. Try everything in your power to improve your chances of victory.
Wow, great, Keiji-kun, just like that.
I covered the unique mark cards on my hands, with the cards, arranging them in such a way that they couldn't be seen.
The one with the ripped corner should be the 5. And I'm out.
I couldn't let any of those precious hints slip by me. All information is a weapon. Then it was my turn.
This is inhumane. He's learning, it's okay. He's adapting.
He's beginning to believe.
He's beginning to believe.
Satoko fanned out her cards for me.
You see, I'm on the 7. Is it this one?
I wonder about that. You won't know unless you take it. There was a bit of dismay in her expression.
This.
She doesn't want to take it. That kind of expression. I wonder if that momentary laugh slipped by me. I know. It's this one. Got it.
She pranked him, I swear.
Yeah. 7 of spades. A cheer. Whoa.
What is this? What? The 7 should be the hardest one of all to tell apart.
It wasn't for memorizing the markings. Their slight changes in their expressions as I was selecting a card were enough. Basically, you make it a poker face and shit.
Can't hide it from me, Kei-chan. The smart means it's the 2 of diamonds. Nani?
What? She was startled by her own mystery. Of course, everyone else was too.
Whoa, it's rare that Michan gets a card roll.
No. Kei-chan, could it be? You.
They told them apart by different marks. That mark was a nail scratch.
Oh no.
I put. I knew. What the fuck is this game? It's supposed to be a horror game. And
He's big.
this game had fucking Kakigurui Masho 3, part 3 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to KG. Go.
Are you saying he disguised it as the two of diamonds? What an impressive show of wit! KG landed a clean hit. Pachi 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 pachi. That's great, KG-kun. That was an incredible match, you know? You know?
Having defeated the foreigner, Mia, my brilliant battle left me ecstatic. But by total points, it was already set in stone that Mion would win and I would finish last. I laughed haughtily, selecting the tone of my voice carefully to get on Mion's nerve.
Oh.
Well, I'm gonna end up the loser, but I'm satisfied at one-upping Mion at the end. That should be the proverbial slap in the face to Mion, who is the top already and ensured victory.
Even if K-Chan gets first place this round, he'll still end up last place overall. Don't you hate that?
I do.
Let's have a duel then. One chance. If you win, then we'll swap first and last place. How about it? You up for it? Look at that.
She fell for it. A chance for an upset that wouldn't be possible without goading her into it.
Oh,
One chance, you say? Now you hear the rules. Mia discarded two cards from her hand, and replaced one with the Joker card that was on the table. It shoved the resulting hand behind her back. The card in my right. Oh, sorry.
Wait, the card in my right or the card in my left? If K-Chan can guess which hand the Joker's in, then he wins. When you turn around... Wait. Oh, no.
When you turned around just now, you didn't pull out the Joker, did you? If you lose, I'll show the card in. Oh, sorry.
If you lose, I'll show the card in the other hand. That okay?
The other two go.
Just like...
The other two go. The other two go nervously at this unexpected turn of events. Alright. You got it. Merely grasp one card in each hand and thrust them up. First, I need to inspect them closely. The card on the right had no distinguishing marks. I couldn't tell which one it was.
Which one, I wonder? KG-kun, be careful.
Yeah, of course. This is my chance for a big comeback.
I'm pretty sure Mian already rigged it.
Yeah. Looking closely at the card to the left, I saw a little wear. It wasn't one I'd seen before. It wasn't one I hadn't seen before.
Oh,
That
that
one.
card is...
I didn't let that bitch from Satsuko slip by me. Mion clicked her tongue. I didn't recognize the mark on the left card. I didn't recognize the mark on the left card from the small number that I had memorized. I didn't know what the left card was, but I could tell from Satoko's reaction that the card had already appeared during the game.
Uh-huh.
Since it had already appeared before, it means that it definitely wasn't the Joker.
Are you sure about that? Oh, K-Chan thinks it's the one on the right. Will you choose that one then? Will you?
The left card definitely wasn't the Joker. If I could trust that theory, then I should have been able to declare that the card to the right was the Joker. Even about Mion's taunting, the one on the right was the most suspicious.
Hmm.
But wasn't it a bit too rash to decide based solely on Satoko's reaction? More carefully. Ah! I remember now. That mark, the left card. No doubt about it. The 7 of clubs.
Wait. That's me?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's the 7 of clubs. I see.
Oh wait, no.
It's okay. It should have been, I don't know. a 7 of clubs, I see. I've won! The card on the left was the 7 of clubs. So that meant the card on the right was the Joker. And just before my hand touched the right card, I froze.
I would expect no less from you.
There was a wave of murmurs among the onlookers on my sudden halt. Right before I confirmed the right hand was the Joker.
What could Keiichi-san possibly be saying? I mean, the left one is...
Yeah, it's a Joker. Ooh. Oh, what makes you so certain that the right one isn't the Joker, Kei-chan? Mion let loose an wait, no. Fuck.
Mion let loose an unexpected question.
And I wonder...
Everyone was baffled.
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know what the card in the right could be. But I know the one on the left is 7 of clubs.
And doesn't that mean the right one is the Joker? Well, that has to be the Joker, right?
Yeah. One of those is the Joker, right?
Is he supposed to pick the Joker?
Sorry?
Is he supposed to pick the Joker?
I think so, yes.
Keiichi has good intuition. Huh? Pikachu, what do you mean by...
So basically, the 7 of clubs. I discarded that by matching it with subsequent 7 of spades earlier. Everyone's attention snapped to the discard pile at the same time. The truth of the matter couldn't be discerned from that sloppy pile. So that means Mion pocketed one of the discarded cards, then aligned it over the left card. And that means...
I see! I get it! This left card is being disguised as the 7 of clubs, right?
It was the first time since the start of the match that the shadow ran across Mion's expression. I didn't let that slip by. Then, with a grand flourish, I declared it loudly. The Joker is the left one! It was an intense moment. And 1 second felt like an eternity for everyone there. Breaking that silence, the first one to speak was Mion.
Being the first president of this club, I've been witness to a variety of performances. Kei-chan, yours is the best. The best of the best of the best.
That was probably the greatest compliment Mion could give. Mion accepted her defeat, jumping the cards with both her hands. My comeback victory! Higurashi placed her hand on my head and began patting him, congratulating me on my victory.
Huh? Pikachu is...
Neda and Satogo gaped at us as they did see the ghost.
What is it? Oops.
What is it, Rena? It's not as if I cheated or anything, right? That was fair and square.
Mika only pat someone on the head to console them.
Oh.
Oh.
He lost! Oh my god, I got praying so hard.
Oh, what's the meaning of? At that moment, Rena let out a small shriek.
Keiichi-kun! This is how it was...
You know, Kei-chan, I thought you'd read into it that far.
Everyone froze. No, it was just me.
It was a gamble. If you had just jumped to conclusions like a little brat, then I would have lost.
It was the answer everyone was certain about. Mia picked up the card from the losing hand.
Kei-chan, you know, you should take pride in this loss. Dun dun.
She turned it around.
That was the card that could proclaim the victor of this duel. The card under the separate clubs. Unbelievable. It was the two of diamond. It was a setup behind the setup. If I just picked the right one of our readings so deeply into it.
I, Mion Sonozaki, as the club president, do accept Keiichi Maibara's membership into our club.
And some days, everybody let out a round of applause for the excellent effort I gave despite my defeat. That's pretty good.
Got it. GG. That was pretty good. That's pretty good. Big brain.
Equivalent of letting a nice shot before you die.
The match is now over. Today's victor is me, Mion Sonozaki, and our exalted loser is Keiichi Maibara.
Hermetic applauding cheerfully. I felt I was bested, but I was so soundly beaten that it felt unexpectedly refreshing.
I need to put a little trick behind her back. I got excited thinking, she's going to do it again. When Keiichi's unstopped the moment before touching the correct card, I thought, he fell for it. He fell for it quite handily.
Huh? Hey, wait. Alden knew from the start, so I got so excited so earnestly?
I mean, everyone got excited to make it more fun.
You... Oh, demons! You monsters!
Now then, Kei-chan, it's time for your penalty.
Oh no.
Since it's your first day participating, I'll go easy, okay? It'll be a problem if you refuse to come to school. Boop, boop.
The other few members held out my arms and shoulders firmly.
Oh no.
Mion approached. Her right hand went to pull something out of her pocket. That's a felt tip marker, and it's large and oil-based.
My guy got read like a fucking book. Okay, here we go.
She took the cap off the marker and brought it slowly up to my face while I was immobilized.
No.
No! I let out my death throes.
What an episode. You know what this is? Calm before the storm.
Yeah, too calm though. It's literally been 3 or 4 hours of just like, yeah, I was really
Oh my god.
calm.
Oh, hello.
That's the bell.
Okay.
As soon as the club activities were finished, Rena flew off. Probably so she could dig out that cute Colonel Sanders that she wasn't able to take home yesterday.
Or hide the body.
But then it was just Mion and me walking home together. A rather rare occurrence.
Not enough treasure, huh? The guys throwing it away probably never thought in their wildest dreams that Rena would be grateful to them.
Mountain of treasure, meaning that damn construction had from that damn construction should have from before, I should say.
You know what I feel like is gonna happen?
What?
She's gonna look at a corpse and be like, oh my god, it's so cute!
Yeah, something like that.
Then keep it.
I'm gonna take you home.
And then takes the corpse home.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, right. Mion would probably tell me that murder by dismemberment seemed to have happened then. Over there, you know, at that damn construction site. Did something happen there? Long ago?
Something sure did.
Sure.
A grand battle. There were sit-ins and demonstrations.
It was a bit different from what I wanted to hear, but I decided I'd listen just the same.
There was a land that was going to be sunk into the damn reservoir. Everyone fought as well, probably. The government guys were really adamant about it, acting all big and full of themselves. Since they figured out they couldn't settle it with money, they did a bunch of nasty stuff. They were nasty guys.
Yeah, that's what she said at me, as if the whole thing was happening right in front of her. I'm amazed you guys won. You were facing the federal government, right?
Oh, the mayor and prominent figures in the village all signed petitions. They went to Tokyo and struck deals with legislators, and as a result, the development plan was retracted. It was a complete victory. Ha 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 ha!
There wasn't any violence, was there? Like assaults or murders?
None. Oh,
Oh, she promptly cut me off. The same as Rena had.
nope, none.
A word signaled the end of the discussion. Tomitake-san said, when arm wasn't found, incident.
I'm pretty sure the village all this agreed
Yeah,
to be
sure.
covered up and say nothing of it. That's like, but Tomitake's not from the village, so.
Yeah, exactly, so you can say so. I thought that a murder by dismemberment had occurred, but I guess I was wrong. My curiosity unsated, I sighed dejectedly aside.
Later. See you tomorrow. Kei-chan, you can wash that off until you get home. Got it?
I got it, I won't. Leon held back her laughter while stealing glances at my face.
Boop.
I wonder what kind of nasty doodles they drew. Damn you, Mion. You shall rue this day. If our roles are ever reversed, I'm gonna slop it on. All over your face so you'll be able to take it off, even with a scouring pad. Upon arriving home, I ran straight into my mom, embarrassing myself yet again. The mood I'd come home to was already on edge. It's not an uncommon thing in our family. Whenever Dad can come up with a good idea, it always does something like this. He stomps around the house with his arms. He stomps around the house with his arms crossed. Mom whispered into my ear.
Welcome home, Keiichi. That... He's in a bit of a rut right now, so don't bother him, okay?
You can't come up with a new idea?
It's because the deadlines are so close together this time. Your dad needs time to recharge or he doesn't work as well.
That's painting to feed our entire family. If he runs out of ideas, then it's the end of the mind on us. I've never gone hungry before. Maybe you, my dad, is a master painter? It would be easier to get an idea taking a walk outside rather than wandering outside the house, around the house.
The theme of the piece this time is in the household. So, it seems your dad wants to use this house as a motif.
It's kind of bothersome motif. Keiichi, pick up your room. It looks terrible. Sorry, I'll clean it up later. Come on, just don't use my room as the motif.
Keiichi, there's still some time before dinner. So, please go take a walk out back or something.
That mood is only temporary. As soon as he gets an idea, his mood improves and he starts humming. Until then, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be a bad idea to go take a walk so I don't aggravate him further. Oh god. Well, I guess I will then.
Monka S, bro.
Here we go.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun.
I said I was gonna go take a walk, but I didn't have any particular destination in mind.
To what? Master Painter. Painter. East.
I just needed to kill some time. I got on my bike and pondered where to go. I could just go read at the bookstore, but it would take about an hour by bike to get to town. It would be dark by the time I got back, so I didn't want to go unless I had to. The roads at night here in Hinami's all creepy.
if me and Satoko ever found out about that.
Hmm?
Sorry, I heard a sound outside my room. It was like a fucking like screeching sound.
Monka-S?
Yeah. So I was like,
We haven't even hit the horror part yet.
yeah, it's like it sounded like it's like a chair being pulled out or something. It's like all of a sudden, and I felt the vibration in the table. I was like, ooh, hi.
Okay.
But yes, oh yeah,
Ah.
man. Reno. Sorry, it happened again. Reno is probably still the mountain's treasure, the damn construction site.
Riley's a world. Oh, yeah, it is. It's like, you know, Riley's.
Riley's?
No, I smell Riley. As if, like.
Oh, Riley. It's kind of like,
not
how
a
to
good
say?
smile. Like, we
Yeah.
smell Riley as in,
It's like a light smile kind of thing.
you know, like.
Essentially, yeah, it's like a kind of smell, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like a little bit hesitant, kind of almost ironically.
Monka-S smile.
Kind of, yeah. The excavation of Colonel Sanders is probably taking her a while. It wouldn't be so bad to have her Obi-Wan. She might return the favor next time we have crow activities. With a little bit of self-interest in mind, I set off towards the damn construction site. This can only end badly. Tomitaki-san might be there as well. The only person with information about the incident that both Rena and Neon denied knowing anything about. If I met him again, I'd like to ask him for more details. To ask, was there really a movement hearing from him? That was my real intention. Curiosity killed cat.
Yep. He's dead.
Dead old.
I spotted Reddit struggling up onto the slope of the garbage pile. Hello? Oh. It looked like Colonel Sanders was lodged in there pretty firmly. It didn't look like Rena would be able to excavate him by himself. Realizing that Tomitaki-san wasn't around, I began climbing up the slope unsteadily. Hey, Rena! Looks like you're working up a sweat.
Wow! Keiichi-kun! What brings you to a place like this?
A place like this, huh? You see, she was aware of it, at least. I received a signal for emergency assistance at the air taxi accident. It's like, where's the injured party? What? Where is the injured party?
Accident?
But there was a report of Colonel Sanders was buried alive in the trash pile.
That, you scared me. Don't frighten me like that, Keiichi-kun.
I'm just kidding. I thought you might be struggling by yourself, so I came to help you out.
You came for me? Oh.
Well, I filled my quota for today. If I don't see Rena blush at least once today, then I'm not getting my daily required nutritional intake.
Just kidding. You're embarrassing me now.
So, huh? What part was the joke? What part was it?
I just ignored her bewilderment. Okay, now move out of the way. So where's Colonel Sanders?
Sorry. Can't you see him in that gap? He's really buried in there.
I think I can see where this is going.
He's dead.
Well, yeah, kind of. The Colonel Sanders was sideways, surrounded by boards and other construction materials, like they were caging him inside. According to Rena, it wasn't like this yesterday. It seems as though another illegal dumper came in yesterday, dumped again, and now he's buried like this. He's trying to move you into the... Excuse me. Excuse me.
What?
No, I yawned.
Oh, okay.
You trying to move this pile all by yourself?
Legal dumper.
With those scrawny arms? There's no way she'll be able to do that with her slender arms.
I mean, she packs a punch though.
Yeah, true.
But Colonel Sanders, so cute. There's a chain on the Colonel Sanders at the store. This one though. I should be able to take this one home.
There's a chain on the one at the store, you checked.
Wait.
If Rena gave up on this Colonel Sanders, she'd probably start devising a plan to steal the one in front of the store. As Rena's guardian, I won't allow her to sully her hands with crime.
Colonel Sanders here. Just a statue that got thrown.
Yeah.
Dude, you got an illegal dumper. It's like you got a license to carry that?
You got a Colonel Sanders license, huh?
Out of the way, I'll do it.
Relief.
Rena blushed again, but this time I left it alone.
Oh,
The pile was enormous. Also, the more days we wasted, the more likely another illegal dumping would occur. If it got buried in any deeper, there'd be nothing that could be done.
Cage-kun, I'll help too. Let me help.
Just get in the way, so stay back.
bruh.
Pulling out scraps, bending them, tossing them aside. I quickly became covered in sweat and dust. Flying objects drew beautiful arcs across the twilight sky, one after another. Lumber, timber, plywood. Damn it! No matter how much I threw out, there was still more. Even though I could see Colonel Sanders right there. After grandstanding there in front of Rena, I felt frantic because of how little I progressed. I was going to do this seriously. I need an axe or a saw or something.
It's enough, Cage-kun. You're so sweaty. You don't have to try so hard.
You're such a sweaty tryhard.
You're such a sweaty tryhard. Ugh.
I'm just doing it for you, Rena.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Rena began sputtering and turned beet red. Whoops. I meant to say I was trying my best to keep her from becoming a criminal. Oh well.
No. Oh my god, you're so cute. I'll bring you back now.
It's just... I need a break. This is pretty tough. I swung my back over the grassy slope.
So sorry. You're covered in sweat.
Rena patted her handkerchief against my forehead. It felt pretty nice.
Well, wait here a minute, okay? My house is pretty close. I'll bring you some barley tea, okay?
Leaving the handkerchief on my forehead, Rena took off running. The cries of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. After I was certain that Rena was gone, I picked myself up and headed towards what I discovered earlier. There was a garbage pile of magazines and newspaper bound up in twine. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe it was around here. Oh, here we go. There it was. There were bound stacks of not too reputable tabloids. They were sorted chronologically, going back quite a few years. It was quite a disturbing incident. It seems they haven't been able to find one of the arms, you see. If it was just as Tomiya Take-san said, then undoubtedly there would be a mention of the murder.
These are troubled times. There's no end to these sickening incidents. There's a large amount of society drawn in by these incidents as well. So it had to be recorded.
Water.
Somewhere. I unfastened the packages and opened the rain-soaked pages carefully, looking over the table of contents. Not here. Next one. Not here. Next one. It was hard to search as I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know who the perpetrator or the victim was either. I only knew what had happened here. I looked up every so often, checking to see if Rena had come back or not. I wouldn't want her to see me gawking at a dirty magazine, but it wasn't just that. Both Rena and Mion said they didn't know. But it happened, without a doubt. As long as Hamitake-san wasn't lying. Then they're both Rena and Mion. What? Yeah, there was. If they just said that, they wouldn't have gotten so hung up about it. An incident that neither Rena nor Mion wished to talk about. Trying to uncover it after they tried to conceal it out of good intentions. That made me feel like I was acting against my friends.
Lynching.
Hinamizawa Dan Merker lynching! Murder by dismemberment!
It's a lynching. Of course, that's why they don't want to talk about it.
Here it is. The featured article was in the back, and it seemed that there was a photograph in the color pages at the front.
Bro, what?
Photograph. The pages of the featured article were stuck together and weren't easy to open. Renner could return at any moment. Feeling rushed, I gave up and opened the photograph page. The police investigators were carrying a body bag, and newspaper reporters were all bathing it in camera flashes. The image was blurry and hard to understand, but I could definitely make out the headlines. A tragic nightmare at the Hinamizawa construction site. Lynching and murder / dismemberment. The victim was a site foreman. He had assaulted his sailors daily with an explosive backlash from his actions. It's a horrible image to see the site foreman as it happened. It really did happen. It seemed the details were on the next page. I turned the page about pausing. On it was. The assailants butchered the body with hatchets and pickaxes, then used an axe to split the cadaver into 6 pieces: the head, arms, legs, and torso. I can understand just from the headline that it was just too terrible an incident. Normally, a lynching is just assault and murder, right? Dismemberment with hatchets and pickaxes? That wasn't a lynching. It was a merciless killing to the letter, a brutal murder, done by a group of people. With hatchets, with pickaxes, with an axe. Ah! Did I help a bit?
No, the fact that I wanted to hear I wanted to hear you scream like right, but then because you scream and then your mic couldn't pick up halfway, it just cut off. I just cut off halfway, and I was like, okay, that's pretty funny.
I can take it.
Perfectly cut scream.
Sorry. Did I startle you?
Huh? I dropped the axe she was holding onto the grass after being startled by my voice. Yeah?
Yeah, no, I was like,
Cage-kun, you see, earlier, you said it will help if you had an axe, didn't you? So then, I brought an axe for you from the shed.
Rena fluttered her arms in a panic, continuing to explain and apologize. It seems I've been glaring at her pretty intensely. I'm sorry. I guess my reaction was a bit overboard.
as well. I'm sorry.
Night was drawing close. I was pretty worn out, and it wouldn't hurt to do the rest tomorrow. Doesn't look like we can break that last beam on Max. You brought it after all. I'll have to borrow it tomorrow, alright?
Okay.
Why do you look so glum? Tomorrow we'll be digging out Colonel Sanders, right?
You're right. I really want to take Colonel Sanders home soon.
We both knew that it was useless to apologize any more than that. I quenched my thirst with the barley tea Renan brought and wiped off the sweat that had now gone cold. We took the path to head home. I felt guilty. I felt quite guilty about the tablet wrapped up in my jacket.
Oh, oh, I don't know whether she found him reading it or.
Yeah.
New tips. Hinamizawa Dead Project Special Tabloid Report. Oh my god.
That made my body feel cold. I was like, oh.
The fucking sound effect.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, okay, goosebumps. This is the horror game.
Yeah, you're an M, bro.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie though. It creeps me the fuck out, but it's also really like you can't help but like want to watch it, you know.
You're an M.
October 1975.
I can
You can read this?
I can read this.
Okay, next I can black it.
October 1975. In accordance with the Prime Minister's Bulletin number beep, Hinamizawa's Electrical Development Master Plan was announced. The vast scope of the projected Hinamizawa Dam will have an incredibly heavy impact on the village of Hinamizawa. The flooded area caused by the Hinamizawa Dam would include the 5 areas of Hinamizawa: Takatsuro, Kiyotsu, Matsumoto, and Yagochi. The submerged area includes 291 houses. Population 1,251. 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, 1 post office, 1 agricultural cooperative, 1 forestry department lumber yard, 5 shrines, 2 temples, and 1 fishery. All of these communal, cultural, agricultural areas and places of worship will be indefinitely submerged at the bottom of the artificial lake basin. Forsaking the hundreds of years our ancestors poured their blood and sweat into this fertile, resource-rich land is just too painful to bear. All the residents having homes that were to be submerged banded together and created the Onikakushi Defense Alliance. The dam project was halted and petitions to alter the plan were circulated. The citizens sought peaceful negotiations, but the government and its puppet company openly refused. Performing unspeakable heinous acts, they quashed the democratic actions of the villagers. But the villagers did not falter. Instead, they banded together even more closely and steeled their resolve to protect their homes to the death. The continuation of their frightening Hinamizawa Dam construction project is still stalled as of today. The villagers understand that the stalling was caused by sublime power through unity, and they understand that this fearsome plan has not yet been fully withdrawn. The Onikakushi Defense Alliance had been dissolved after it did its part, but the feelings of unity it garnered have not yet been distinguished. As long as that passion resides in the hearts of the residents, they'll be able to confront whomever next decides to sink their homes into a lake basin. Onikakushi Defense Alliance Committee Chairman Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. Naruto. Oh look.
Tabloid. Ahem.
Nightmare falls to Hinamizawa Dam. Lynching and murder dismemberment. What the fuck is this music? Okay. In month of Beep Day in Beep Prefecture at the Hinamizawa Dam, construction worksite in Shishibone City, a bone-chillingly gruesome murder / dismemberment. Even though this case has shocked the archipelago, the police were
Archipelago.
archipelago fucking okay. The police would give no details on the case. Exactly what happened at the Hinamizawa Dam. They probably didn't mean to kill him at first, but as the victim resisted by swinging around a shovel, the rest of the perpetrators armed themselves in return, and it quickly escalated to homicide. So said the aforementioned investigator A. After this bloody tragedy was over, they were left with a body which nobody thought was alive. The son had tormented the suspects daily with his rough behavior. At first, it was meant to be payback. The perpetrator was horrified by their deed, and one even turned himself into the police. It was the de facto leader of this group, Peep, who suggested hiding the body. Reluctantly at first, they soon began to think they did not wish to be caught. The construction site had numerous places to hide the body with 6 people. They were originally supposed to hide the body and leave the area. Wait a minute.
What's up?
Wait a minute. 1, 2. No, never mind. I was thinking of something else, but no, it's probably another thing. Was it effectively? I was thinking, like, how many friends do we have? 4?
So the whole group is 5 people.
Was it 5?
Yeah.
Oh, is it including
5,
us?
5 including you. Yeah, the whole group of friends.
Yeah. The de facto leader feared that the consciences of the other 5 wouldn't be able to bear the burden, and came up with a horrifying method to keep them from turning him into the police. He devised a heinous method of splitting up the body among them and making each of them responsible for hiding a piece. Beep had turned a simple manslaughter into a gruesome dismemberment and forcibly involved each perpetrator in order to create a sense of unity between them. Each one participated, but what does this mean? Person A spoke out reluctantly. Beep had ordered each and every one of them to dissect the piece for themselves. They were hesitant at first, but nobody refused. In for a penny, in for a pound, was what it meant. Thus, an imaginable bloody ceremony began. The perpetrators wept and vomited as they performed the gruesome task. There was one person who stubbornly refused, but Beep threatened, saying nothing would change if someone else ended up dead. And he gave up in his objections. But Beep's plan collapsed in the span of one night. Widow, who had refused to dissect the corpse up until the last moment, had broken down in tears at the hospital where he was being treated for an injury sustained during the scuffle and confessed. The criminals were arrested one after the other, but the de facto leader, Beep's whereabouts are still unknown. Also, the right arm hidden by Beep has yet to be found. Despite an ongoing search, this horrible individual has so far managed to elude law enforcement. What could the police be doing? It appears that Beep had said he was going to throw the body, right arm, into the marsh. Beep's car was discovered abandoned near the marsh, but there were no clues to his whereabouts. Beep didn't trust his companions. One cannot deny the possibility that he had expected his companions to confess to the police and used his car as a decoy. Of course, I doubt that theory. Since he has no car, one would expect him to have a limited area to which he could have escaped to. But within the station, there were rumors going around that he had accidentally slipped and drowned in the marsh when he went to throw away the body. To the locals, the marsh is believed to be bottomless, known as Onikakushi, the ogre's abyss, and it's said that the bottom of the marsh is connected to the hellish world of demons. The atrocious demon from hell. That was Beep. Could it be that he had returned to hell through the marsh? The seasoned dragon bring out luck and fortune. Prosperous future. Ladies leaping to your arms. Business success. Promotions. Ambition. Protection from harm. Not just with pachinko horse racers, but business and even love. Irritate or your money back. Legion Dragon Bracelet DX. One piece. 27,800 yen.
We need that.
Of course.
Sasuga tabloid.
Sasuga.
Isaac.
How are you gonna do this? You go?
Gonna fuck though.
Yeah. Only a little bit fucked.